years, won her 13th of 15 fights via the win coming via an arm bar submission. Meanwhile, UFC CEO Dana White has announced that Conor McGregor is to return for a rematch against Max Holloway in the UFC 329 main event on July the 11th in Las Vegas. Well, finally, in the Betfred Super League, Toby King scored 2 tries as Warrington Wolves won 24-16 at Toulouse, while Hull KR held firm to claim a 2016 victory at Lee Leopards. That's all for now. We'll have more later. Latest sports news on Sunday. I'm Aidan Perkins. We'll start with football. And just a day after losing the FA Cup final to Manchester City 1-0 at Wembley, Chelsea are closing in on the appointment of Xabi Alonso as their new manager. The appointment of the former Real Madrid and Bayer Leverkusen boss is expected to come in the next few days, and he's set to be unveiled in pre-season with his contract set to begin on July the 1st. This after Chelsea lost the FA Cup final at Wembley on Saturday. Antoine Semenyo's delightful back heel giving City the cup once again. On Sunday, the attention turns to the Premier League with 6 games taking place. Manchester United host Nottingham Forest at 12:30. It's Brentford Palace at 3, along with Everton, Sunderland and Leeds Brighton. Wolves entertain Fulham at 3 as well, while the big game at the bottom as West Ham look for points in their survival battle when they go to Newcastle. That's a 5:30 kickoff. Moving on to golf, Alex Smalley is on 6 under par and leads by 2 shots after the 3rd round of the US PGA Championship, the latest major. A superb 66 left Rory McIlroy 3 shots back after the 3rd round, while Ludwig Aberg and John Rahm are 2 shots off the lead heading into the final round. In tennis, Alina Svitolina has won a 3rd Italian Open title, beating Coco Gauff 6-4, 6-7, 6-2, while Yannick Sinner is into his home Italian Open final after a 6-2, 5-7, 6-4 win over Daniil Medvedev. In mixed martial arts, Ronda Rousey submitted Gina Carano inside 15 seconds in their much anticipated comeback fight. The 39-year-old returning to the MMA after 10 years won her 13th of 15 fights via the win coming via an arm bar submission. Meanwhile, UFC CEO Dana White has announced that Conor McGregor is to return for a rematch against Max Holloway in the UFC 329 main event on July the 11th in
by O'Hara. Little cross turn, keep it in. That body's in the area, but slams it at Gilligan. Out for another corner kick. To mount up, but the corners. Two arms up from Tanza. Out swinger by the looks of it. Into the near post with Gogic. There's a few bodies in there. No one quite knew what they're doing. Clell Harding got the last touches. Yes, he was being elbowed, but not quite sure. 3 minutes and a half to go. A bit in slow motion in the end for another corner. Tanza will take it. I think the plan's going to be the same. Towards the near post. Whipped in. Pushed away this time by Richards. A confidence boost for those in front of him. All the way to halfway where Richardson is. Gives it to Ido, back to Richardson. Gogic, energetic, he gets back there. Campbell's wide on the left-hand side. Gogic will use him. 2 minutes and a half to go. St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. Upton to Ido. Nice turn by him and a poor pass actually. Looks so good at first, and it's forward towards Waters. Ball too strong. And Sapsford really struggled in the game. In the distribution from those behind him hasn't been good. Sapsford has got the goal. Waters the assist. Gilligan's throw down the left-hand side. Waters from the left. That's a nice finish past Sinclair. It's the goal that separates these two teams. Freckleton again, St Mirren trying to play from the back. Fraser to Gogic. Campbell's in the middle of the park. Freckleton. There's a channel ball. Tanzer inside. An opportunity maybe for Young. He just runs into a bit of traffic, and Kamara can go away for Dundee United. Gives Waters something to chase. Saxford's trying to keep up with him, but Gogic reads it well, slides in, makes a good tackle. Cypriot down to a standing start in the end. So Campbell will look to bring it forward. Freckleton, Richardson, always offside, always looked like he was. Eresus was kind of setting the line just inside him. He was the one looking at the system. Flag went up, and made the right call as well. He's done well so far in this game. Richards will come out and wait for the fourth official's ball. We might get some because there have been a couple of stoppages. It's been too significant. See the fourth official now. Richards puts the restart long. Strain, ball into the right hand side. Freckleton at the near post, heads it away. O'Hara thighs it up into the air and then volleys clear and forward towards Young. He and Douglas carrying the game at the moment. Now Sybil to the box. To Waters. He looks at Saxford, who can't quite bring it down. It wasn't a great ball. Except for a goal kick. Debate going on between some of the Dundee United players. I wonder if there's been some debates going on the training ground this week and in past weeks after a season that suggests they were underperformed. With the goal kick, and as you'd imagine, they use this to call time on what's been a decent first half in the game in Paisley. At the break, St Mirren 0 and the United. Half time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. The only goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan with a throw down the left-hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finish by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren, while Gogic has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half-time. Half-time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. The only goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan with a throw down the left-hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finish by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren, while Gogic has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half-time. Half-time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. The only goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan with a throw down the left-hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finish by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren, while Gogic has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half-time. Half-time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. The only goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan with a throw down the left-hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finish by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren, while Gogic has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half-time. Half-time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. The only goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan with a throw down the left-hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren, while Goggins has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half-time. Half-time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. Early goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan will throw down the left-hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren, while Goggins has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half-time. Half-time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. Early goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan will throw down the left-hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren, while Goggins has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half-time. Half-time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. Early goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan will throw down the left-hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren, while Goggins has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half-time. Half-time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. Early goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan will throw down the left-hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren, while Goggins has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half-time. Half-time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. Early goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan will throw down the left-hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren, while Goggins has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half-time. Half-time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. Early goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan will throw down the left-hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren, while Goggins has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half-time. Half-time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. Early goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan will throw down the left-hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren, while Goggins has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half-time. Half-time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. Early goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan will throw down the left-hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren, while Goggins has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half-time. Half-time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. Early goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan will throw down the left-hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren, while Goggins has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half-time. Half-time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. Early goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan will throw down the left-hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren, while Goggins has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half-time. Half time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. The only goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan with a throw down the left hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren. Goggins has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half time. Half time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. The only goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan with a throw down the left hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren. Goggins has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half time. Half time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. The only goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan with a throw down the left hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren. Goggins has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half time. Half time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. The only goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan with a throw down the left hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren. Goggins has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half time. Half time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. The only goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan with a throw down the left hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren. Goggins has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half time. Half time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. The only goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan with a throw down the left hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren. Goggins has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half time. Half time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. The only goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan with a throw down the left hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren. Goggins has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half time. Half time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. The only goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan with a throw down the left hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren. Goggins has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half time. Half time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. The only goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan with a throw down the left hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren. Goggins has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half time. Half time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. The only goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan with a throw down the left hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren. Goggins has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half time. Half time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. The only goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan with a throw down the left hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren, while Gogic has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half-time. Half-time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. The only goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan will throw down the left-hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren, while Gogic has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half-time. Half-time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. The only goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan will throw down the left-hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren, while Gogic has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half-time. Half-time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. The only goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan will throw down the left-hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had a goal that ruled out for offside for St Mirren, while Gogic has also struck just over the bar. 1-0 to Dundee United at half-time. Half-time, it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. The only goal coming after 27 minutes. The Dundee United forwards, Waters and Saxford, have not had too much to work with, but they created a goal. Youngster Gilligan will throw down the left-hand side, finding Waters, who played the ball in towards the near post. Finished by Saxford. Douglas had
coming across just to understand why the referee has come up with the decision that he has. It's Sarr who's being played through. Is he brought down by Lewis Potter? Is he brought down by Kelleher? I think a combination of the two is probably going to end up with a penalty for Palace here.
Yeah, I think it's hard. As you say, it's almost a sandwich. It's a sandwich on the outside, isn't it? Because I feel it's unfortunate for Kelleher, because I feel he's coming out. He's not intending to take him out. His arms are up, but he knows he can't get the ball. I wouldn't be surprised if, again, the referee is just told to go to the monitor.
Yeah, I think so. I think that the issue for me is that based on what we've seen this season, what Lewis Potter did with the way he gets his body across, that will be fine. I don't think that would give a penalty. But then it's the fact that that collision with Lewis Potter then has Sarr falling into Kelleher, and Kelleher gets nowhere near the ball. So I think that it looks like Lewis Potter's challenge probably is going to be okay. But overall, well, the way that they're sort of limbering up now, the referee is still saying that he's going to have to go to the monitor. I have to say, I hate this in Premier League. I mean, it's not just the Premier League, but why does the referee need to spend 90 seconds telling 10 different players, we're checking it, we're checking it? Just run over and check it yourself straight away. But he's going to check it, and I predict he's going to give Palace a penalty.
Well, usually it's it was given on the field. If they point to it, it's going to be opposite. If that was given on the field and he goes over, you're going to think, oh, he's going to rule this out. I will say, just come to the Manchester United game, it was handball by Birmingham, but what was looking at VAR, Cooney scored, they went to the VAR, you thought, oh, it's going to be overturned. The referee, no, I think it's fine. So it's not that there is a rule that, but what I'd say, out of every 10 times, 9 times out of 10 it usually is overturned.
Yeah, and I think also, if they showed the full rec replay where Lewis Potter's collision sends Sarr into Kelleher, that might give Kelleher the slightest little bit of mitigation. But even that is clutching at straws. Kelleher just bundles into Ismaila Sarr and he doesn't get the ball. So I don't really see, A, how this can't be a penalty, and B, why this is taking as long as it is. But the referee has now made his decision. We can't hear him on the off-tube pictures that we're getting, but we're able to confirm that the referee has given a penalty. Can't quite see yet. Just trying to lip read what Sam Barrett has come up with. Can't see any reaction from any of the players as yet. So we'll confirm it in the next few seconds. But Kelleher, he looks a little bit like the guilty party there. To say, Lewis, the way that Kelleher's just looked back across towards that right-hand side, it looks like it hasn't been given as a penalty.
Yeah, we're not sure, as you rightfully said.
Oh, it has. I think it has now after all of that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for us, as you rightfully pointed out. Unfortunately, we don't hear what the referee has to say to the crowd. It is independent of studio commentary. I do believe it's being given. So look, I feel a bit for Kelleher because it was awkward for him, but look, he has a chance to be a save from the penalty.
He does, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, he's the one that made the problem by flying out and colliding with Ismaila Sarr. it's a real shame in terms of like the way the game started, because of course Palace and Brentford really going at it in the first couple of minutes. Now it's all been slowed down, but of course if this early penalty goes in, it might just force Brentford to be even more attacking, and it'll open the game up even more. But Ismail Sk is now ready up against Quimmin Kelleher. He's made sure everyone's outside the box. It's a short, very purposeful run up here from Saul. He guessed the right way, did Kelleher, but it's powerful enough from Palace's number 7. He sends it into the corner and Palace take the lead.
Yeah, it's a top corner in the end, but that we see run-ups, don't we? It didn't give me confidence, and when Kelleher went the right way, I thought, oh, he might save this. And to see it such a short run, it does get a lot of power on it, does Palace forward. As you say, how does that change the game? As you said, what were they opening 3 minutes? It was back and forth. Attack, and will that mean Palace sit back? Or will that mean that, I don't think they're going to be as open as that, but then will that mean Brentford have to respond? I'm not too sure. It's such a short sample size, but we've got an early goal in the quite a packed Sunday slate. Feels like a Saturday, doesn't it?
Well, it pretty much is a Saturday. Yeah, just the two fixtures that we've lost because of the FA Cup final yesterday. And of course we have got a game to be played tomorrow, and then the errand games, of course, will be caught up in midweek before everybody plays at 4 p.m. next Sunday to wrap up what has been an interesting Premier League season. Of course, been a few sort of patches where people have complained about the style of play, the rather industrious way that set pieces are being taken, but take nothing away. There's been plenty of quality this season as well, and I'm sure there's more to come over the next week or so as well, as Palace now back in possession. Just inside their own half, ball played back towards the edge of the area. It's Riyad now back towards his goalkeeper Henderson, up towards the halfway line. It's headed down quickly, taken here by Janelt, back towards Lewis Potter on the left-hand side. He plays one over the top. It's headed down by Riyad into the middle. It's quickly won back though by Janelt, but Brentford just a little bit chaotic in midfield as Sarr has it back now for Palace. Plays it to Munoz, back to Ismail Sk. Was looking to try and thread a ball through towards Strand Larsen. Just too many Brentford bodies in the way, and it's Yarmouk now back towards Lewis Potter. He plays it back towards Kelleher. I said in my intro that Brentford have got all to play for, but they really haven't been in good form over the last couple of months. Although there haven't been too many defeats since the end of February, there's only been a couple of wins. It's mainly been draws. And as I say, maybe just that pressure of getting that close to a European spot is just weighing on Keith Andrews' side, because it's new territory for them as well.
It is, and it's one of them, isn't it? Just looking at the live table, of course, Brighton are 3 points above Brentford. They're getting a point right now, Brentford. Obviously, there's a lovely ball here. Otaro's on the phone.
Yeah, chancey though for Brentford. The ball just hangs a little bit too long in the air for Otaro to be able to run onto, but he still keeps it in play down the left-hand side. He puts a ball into the box, which is off his weaker right boot. It's a floating ball into the 6-yard box and an easy save in the end for Henderson.
I thought that coming into this game, the dam's going to be up the left and Otaro off the right with the opportunity to cut inside. The full-backs will overlap with that packed out midfield three. At the moment, it hasn't worked out like that. It's been open. That's open from Kelleher.
Yeah, it is. He ran out. He seems to have a lot of time to deal with that bouncing ball at the edge of his own penalty area, and he ends up just shanking it up in the air. Doesn't really get much distance on it either, so it's actually going to be an attacking throw here for Palace on the right-hand side. Chance in now for Munoz to try and launch this ball into the box. Brentford have a famous long throw specialist themselves, so they always have to be careful. I know that other sides always enjoy trying to get a long throw against the Bees, so we'll see what Munoz can do from this sort of angle. He's just hanging around at the edge of the air, but the majority of the Palace players are bunching themselves just at the edge of the 6-yard box as in anticipation of this long ball here from the Colombian international. Munoz does get a decent throw on that. It's just maybe a yard or two short of where it needs to be. Easy headed away by Collins. It's back to Munoz now, using his feet into the middle, now back towards Mitchell, and it's Palace in possession now on the halfway line. Across towards this left-hand side now. Kamada trying a quarterback-style pass, but it's overhit by at least 10 yards. Nobody in a gold Palace shirt close enough to that one, and it's out for a goal kick.
It's a 40-20 in rugby. More look like it more than anything. So yeah, just overhit there from the midfielder. Whenever he's in that, I know he's a bit more deeper these days, but I do like how they play. They play together. Just Brentford, they're just a bit frantic at the moment at Brentford. They're still settling into the game. I know it's an early goal, so maybe that's playing with the mind and stuff a little bit, but look, they are getting in behind Palace. I think there's more goals to come. It's just, I know it's cliche and niche, but if Palace go 2 and look, that really pushes Brentford. If it's 1-1, and especially if Brentford get it, say, before half an hour, it's a very interesting game.
No, it absolutely is, and the Palace attack that led to the goal, and it was a quick counter, but it pretty much came from nowhere. So on that same basis, Brentford have to try and work themselves into another opening. Of course, they have to be very careful because Palace have got plenty of attacking threat if Brentford were to give the ball away again. This is, as Lewis mentioned, a very busy Sunday. There's three other games on our service in the Premier League right now: Everton, Sunderland, Leeds, Brighton, and Fulham against Wolves against Fulham, I should say, and Newcastle against West Ham is still to come at 5:30 this evening. The ball now back at the edge of the Brentford penalty area. Player then brings it forward. Henson towards Yarmolenko. Brentford certainly seeing plenty of the ball, but it's not easy for them to try and get it into the final third. Palace have just got a better shake now that they've scored that early goal, but they're trying to go over the top. Now the ball for Igor Thiago gets away from him, but it's still kept alive here by Dango Ouattara on the left-hand side, back towards Igor Thiago. Just at the edge of the area, Brentford players are joining in now. He threads the ball in towards Damsgaard. Damsgaard's ball into Jensen, but it's not the best header really. It's cleared, but it's cleared for a throw. He might have actually got a deflection off one of the Brentford players as it was cleared, so it's out for a throw to Palace. But that's a little bit better. Starts off with a long ball there.
He does, and I think it'll be a good battle. We've already seen it a handful of times. Thiago up against Lacroix, that'll be a big one because he's a centre back. I'm sure Thiago will latch on to him. Riyad and Campbell that wide at time. He won't be getting in a nice position in the middle, so that was just a long ball forward flicked on by Thiago, and Ouattara's pace showing there. That'll be almost that 1-2 combo, and that'll be something to watch out for, of course.
Absolutely, that's something they're going to have to be very mindful of as Mitchell now clicks one over the top, potentially for Pino to run on. So it was misjudged there by Coyote, so Pino can play a through ball into the penalty area. Ismaila Sarr was the intended target, just a bit too close to Kelleher. I'm trying to think of an excuse for Coyote there. Maybe the sun gets in his eyes or something, but really he should have dealt with that to begin with.
Yeah, I think it was good from Pino as well. I don't know if Pino sold the run and it went with it, like you said, looked up in the sky. I'm not too sure, but Coyote, we covered the game against Manchester City last weekend for Brentford, and I thought to say he had the most informed winger in maybe the World Football Docker. He played very, very well. Pino, he's a similar player, a little small, diminutive, very much of a dribbler, so it'll be interesting. But again, I think he's a better defensive fullback than attacking one, and that's where the trade is.
Yes, no, he absolutely is. And Pino perhaps won't have the explosive pace or the trickery of Docker, but he'll have that footballing now. So as you said, just dropping a shoulder, just feinting to move one way and then the other, and that is enough to potentially get the big right back in a little bit of trouble. But Brentford have won themselves a corner kick in the meantime. There's 5 players to aim for inside the box. It's just a short corner here between Janelt and Jensen. Jensen then plays the ball into the 6-yard box. It's a flat cross. It's partially cleared. It's then scooped up in the air by Munoz. Not the best clearance, really, headed back towards the edge of the area. That's a better header, though, from Kamada to get the ball away. And now Palace can go on the counter here, down the left-hand side. Pino falls, but he still manages to get the pass in back into the middle for Kamada, who is over the halfway line. He's been supported by Wharton now. Wharton playing an early ball into the box. It's the right idea. Oh, it just gets away from its intended target, but it kept alive. And now a strike going towards goal, and it's batted away by Kelleher. But that's another quick counter, and Palace very nearly doubling their lead.
Yeah, they are. It was from Munoz. I don't want to say it was weaker left, but of course from a corner, so Munoz was on the left-hand side more than anything defending. But I think one thing that's been proven by, I know we're only 13.5 minutes into the game, both teams are doing very well on the transition. They're almost soaking the pressure going because both teams have got a lot of pace. You've got the wing-backs for Palace, and then Sarr and Pino are some real speed demons for Brentford. I'm not, for example, Jensen, he isn't a pace, but he drives forward really well with the ball, so we'll have to see what Palace do in this corner.
Yeah, it's a corner kick that's played towards the back post. It's nodded clear to the edge of the area. Wharton then goes for a volley. That was a really decent effort from Wharton. He got his body in the right position and really looked like he was trying to get that shot into the top corner, but just leaning back a little bit sends it over the bar.
It was a lovely first touch forward as well, and like I say, he hits it cleanly. I think Ouattara doesn't close him down, but he gets enough, doesn't it, for Wharton to maybe rush his stride. Maybe if Ouattara isn't out as soon, maybe Wharton goes so down. He almost has taken a snapshot at it, if you will, and then he gets underneath it because of it. But another worrying sign, but ball forward with Thiago here from Brentford.
Yeah, it was nodded on to him, and Thiago's been forced out wide on the right-hand side, and as he's turning away from one defender, he just runs straight into Tyrick Mitchell, who then actually gets fouled by the big Brazilian as he tries to get away from Brentford's number 9. So that will be a free kick to Palace just at the edge of their own penalty area. Coming up to 15 minutes gone on official independent off-tube studio commentary. It is Brentford 0, Crystal Palace 1. It is the only goal so far in the 3 o'clock kickoffs today. And if you missed it earlier, Manchester United beating Nottingham Forest progressed by 3 goals to 2 in the 12:30 kickoff. Long ball here from Mitchell, does reach its intended target. There's a strike coming in from the edge of the area. It's Strand Larsen, you can argue in unfamiliar territory there, at least 3 or 4 yards outside the box. Gets it on target, but it was never going to be an issue for Kelleher.
No, it wasn't. Strand Larsen, if he's having a shot outside the penalty area, it's a worry maybe. It reminds me when Ruud van Nistelrooy, he always scored inside the box. I don't think I've seen Larsen score outside the box. Paul Wycombe Palace.
Yeah, because Jensen's been caught in possession, and Kamada driving forward now into the penalty area. It's a strike. Oh, it's hit the post, and it's deflected back out towards this right-hand side. It's Sarr getting that ball into the penalty area. His cross this time is charged down, and it's out for a corner kick. But if Brentford went into this game, perhaps like the commentator did, assuming that Palace are going to be thinking about the Conference League and not too worried about today's game, well, that's definitely not the case. Palace are up for this one, very much so.
Sarr so close to him, he's just a little bit too wide, isn't he, really? He strikes it well. Kelleher's at stretch. Once again, I just think Brentford's not settled after the bees. As you said, it was caught in the middle there, and credit to Palace, they won the look, but they win the ball, and players are flying forward there, and
corner kick taken short. It's now back over with Wharton in towards the near post, and it's nodded wide. It was Charlie Riyad that had got into the right position there. Yeah, the big defender, arguably getting a game today as Palace do a little bit of rotation. Can't say that this is far off the starting 11 that you would expect Palace to play, let's say in the cup final or in a big sort of end of season game if they had something riding on it. Really, it's only Riyad that's been brought into the team. And obviously Strand Larsen and Mateta have been sort of rotated amongst themselves because Palace unexpectedly ended up keeping both of them at the end of January. But he's pretty much named the first 11, barring Riyad, you could argue.
Yeah, realistically, I think you're right there. And of course, it might sound a bit silly, but I feel the Europa League for the Conference League feels a little bit off sometimes. I feel the Conference League should be before. So you have got a week and a half, haven't you? So at the same time, some managers like to not maybe play the full 11 all the time for 90 minutes, but go, right, we need to keep you firing, we need to keep you going, we're not going to sit you for 2 weeks. You maybe just lose that, the fitness and the gear in game, if you get what I mean. Whereas you rest them, you're not game fit then, are you? Maybe a little bit off the boil. I can imagine next weekend there might be quite a bit of resting, but if you want to keep the players ticking over to it.
Yeah, I think that's a fair shout. I think it may well be that Palace, for their last game of the season, before that big cup final, I mean, they are at home to Arsenal, so there may well be an expectation that they have to name a strong team just to keep the Premier League integrity, of course, if we think about the fact that there may still be a title battle on the last day of the season. But now a long ball into the Palace penalty area. Igor Thiago once again is forced out wide. Can't really turn, but he does really well there. Clever play from Igor Thiago, just back heels the ball straight into JD Campbell, out for a Brentford corner.
The problem they've got is Thiago's, he always does well running the channels. He's a great box striker, sniffs out chances, but he's also great just making those runs. The problem he's got 3 defenders up against him. So if he goes left, it now means that 2 defenders go with him. If he goes right, 2 defenders go with him. So he's a little bit outnumbered. What Brentford need to do is someone even needs to support him or make that run centrally where the gaps are being left, because he's doing well, but I mean, in 2 against 1 there, then the wing back comes back. It's been hard for Thiago, but that was great from him.
Yeah, absolutely. Didn't have many options there, so he has to at least try and get his side of set piece, which he's done. And the ball is now whipped in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's taken down and it's quickly cleared back towards the halfway line. A long clearance there from Cambo. The ball from Jensen to Coyote was a little bit under hit. There may be a foul there. The referee says no, play on. And it's down the right-hand side here now for Janel. Janel doesn't want to cross it with his weaker right, puts it in with his left. Headed clear towards the edge of the area by Strand Larsen, who was still back there after the corner kick before the ball is finally cleared towards the halfway line. Brentford recycle it again now. That's a poor ball from Janel, though. Easily blocked off here by Riyad, and now it's into the middle here for Adam Wharton. Square towards Ismail Sarr. Back towards Lacroix now, being closed down by Igor Thiago. As Lewis pointed out, that's certainly going to be a duel throughout the 90 minutes this afternoon, you'd imagine. Ball now back to Henderson. Long clearance from him up to the halfway line. That one's headed forward by Collins, but it lands straight to Lacroix. And Palace now starting again here in midfield. That's a nice diagonal ball from Lacroix to pick out Mitchell over the halfway line in towards Sarr. He plays it back into Pino. Now it's Wharton. There's a nice fluidity about Palace's midfield, which Brentford haven't really had yet so far in this game. Visitors looking a little bit more accomplished on the ball now as Wharton plays it towards Pino at the edge of the area. And there's a ball coming in from the right-hand side from Munoz, which is blocked by King Lewis Potter, and that's out for a Palace corner.
There they are. They're really knocking it around nicely, the Eagles are. You're spot on there. And Brentford, again, 20 minutes say now, the first 5-10 minutes, I do understand any team not settling to win a game, whether you're at home or away. But you put out maybe the pressure of, you know, you win this game, you keep it alive. It's almost a Palace have nothing to play for in the league right now. They've got eyes on Conference League, and they're thinking, let's end the season well, let's get momentum behind it. Right now, Brentford really behind the ball.
No, they really are, and as I say, Brentford away to Liverpool on the last day of the season. So I mean, stranger things have happened, but if you need to win that game to guarantee yourself a place in Europe, it's not the best sort of scenario to have. Here comes the corner kick, though. It's headed down by Lacroix. It's only partially kicked it straight back to Lacroix. He backheels it now as Sarr tries to clip one into the penalty area. That one's been taken away by Igor Thiago, who may have actually been fouled as that ball was being played to him, and he gets into Jensen. Jensen then gets into Otara, and Otara's off down the left-hand side towards the penalty area. His cross takes a big deflection. Henderson will track that. He will avoid a corner kick being given away, and Palace have the ball. But again, the difference between the two sides, I mean, it was a decent counter from Brentford. They're just lacking numbers, really.
Yeah, the water that was basically Otaro and Thiago did well with Damsgaard, but you just could see that, you know, where the ball was going from Otaro. He got 2 places to beat on the cross. As well, the goalkeeper would probably go right. Unless he puts it right in a great place, the keeper would probably come out and collect it in Henderson. So, again, I thought it was better from Brentford. But as you say, you probably need at least an extra 1, maybe even 2 bodies. But right, let me get up and spot my teammates.
Absolutely, as Brentford now losing the ball again in midfield. It's just not quite worked for Brentford in midfield so far in this game, as Strand Larsen holds it up and he plays it in towards Wharton. He's been followed now by Sarr down the right-hand side. Sarr into the penalty area. His cross gets a deflection. It's another Palace corner kick, and they are still piling on the pressure.
They are. And you see Keith Andrews on the side. He's probably thinking, this is a real storm to weather at the moment, isn't it? And again, maybe if you're at Selhurst Park, you feel a bit different. You're the away side, yes, you're 1-0 down, but you're away, aren't you? You're almost just trying to pick the games as it goes sometimes. You're at home, I can imagine as well that the first 20 plus minutes, that maybe some of the fans in the G-Tech are a little bit underwhelmed. Again, tension can build up, can't it? Because Palace lead 1-0. Yes, it was a penalty, but they also been fantastic apart from the goal.
Yes, I mean, they have looked a really, really accomplished side so far in this game, just like Brentford have looked a little bit disjointed and perhaps a little bit shaken and surprised by the fact that Palace have been quite as resolute as they have been. A corner kick is a little bit low, a little bit flat, and easily headed away. A frustrated look there on Adam Wharton. It was his left-footed ball into the box that was quickly headed clear at the near post by Otara. Munoz now to take the throw, but he takes it short. Just back towards the edge of the area, and it's launched long from Tyreek Mitchell, 25, maybe even 30 yards out. He really concentrated to make sure that shot was low enough to be on target, but also it wasn't the hardest for Kelleher, even after a slight deflection.
No, it wasn't. And again, you'd be quite happy though, to be honest, if shots are coming from that range, aren't you? I mean, Kelleher, he's had a few tests already, hasn't he? Sanu didn't test it, but Sarr hit the post as well, so you'd probably say that Kelleher maybe would have been beaten if that's in the top corner. I'm not too sure, but yeah, just looking at Brentford, that pass there, it wasn't a great pass to Otaro, but it just feels like Palace are just winning the duels in the middle. They're doing the simple things, they're doing them well.
They are, yeah. They certainly seem to be more settled as an 11 on the field so far, as Ango Otara chasing the ball down the right-hand side, but that one is one back and played back towards Dean Henderson as he clears it long. It's then headed straight back towards the Palace penalty, but Igor Thiago rather lazily was still coming back from a previous offside position, so he can't go for it, and it's back with Henderson again. And we are also over the halfway mark in this first half. It is Brentford 0, Crystal Palace 1. It will be Lewis to take us through to half-time.
Cheers, Paul. It's been a really good first half of the first half. Brentford have yet to really find their feet. Palace have been really good, and they're coming forward again. Pino tries to poke forward, looking for the run of Wharton. Johnny Allen play for a throw-in for the Bees, as Paul rightfully pointed out a few moments ago. Still goalers everywhere else. And the only goal in the 3 o'clock is Everton and Sunderland, Leeds and Brighton, Wolves and Fulham. Nil so far. We'll do our best to keep you up to date on any scores elsewhere, but of course our eyes are fixed on the G-Tech. Brentford against Palace, still very frantic in the middle. Ball to the right-hand side to Coyote. And white shirts are driving forward. Coyote's outnumbered, he does well to get as far as he does. Half-fighting chance for a handball there, but Palace come away with the ball. Strand Larsen dropping deep. Pino. He's got Sarr as the lone runner, tries to play it forward. Sarr was always almost just driving forward with his run, never really looked back, and Collins intercepts it. Although they're playing with a 5 or 3 back, whether you like something at Palace, they seem to have more players supporting the attacks and also in the build-up, because they have that back 5 and 2 defensive midfielders. more options building up, so it's almost a build up well, but then the attack well, and just Brentford are struggling right now.
They are. I mean, the fact Munoz and Mitchell are pretty much playing like wingers, and then they've also got the two attacking midfielders in Sarr and Pino ahead of them. So the options when they get the ball out wide are endless, really, in terms of those four players being able to interlink. And then you've got Watson, Kamada, really sort of keeping things knitted together in the middle of the park. So it really does work for Palace.
It does. Of course, Glasgow were believing at the end of the season, looking on high with that Conference League final. Interesting to see who comes in for Glasgow. Iraola's being linked.
Yeah, Iraola has been linked, and that would be interesting because, I mean, over the past couple of seasons, you could argue that Bournemouth have probably spent more money than Palace, or certainly it's comparable. So whether it's a step up, whether or not there's a more long-term project that Iraola can see at Selhurst Park, of course, time will tell. Can tell you that we are no longer the only game with a goal in it, because Wolves, already relegated Wolves, have taken the lead against Fulham at Molineux. And it's Mateus Mane, who, according to today's press rumours, is on the wish list at Nottingham Forest, of course, with his former manager Vitor Pereira wanting to try and get a reunion.
Yeah, looking at that, of course, Fulham again, not one of the teams really in the European hunt. If they were to pick up 3 points, they could go with the likes of Chelsea. So it is interesting around the table from basically, I would even say, I'm not saying Bournemouth, I'm not saying Forest really, but from maybe even Brighton to Leeds. If everything went friendly for Leeds and everything, there's a lot of opportunity.
There is. I mean, Leeds would have to win both of their games, and everybody above them pretty much would need to lose. But it's not impossible that could happen. And the fact that we're talking about Brentford and Brighton having such good seasons, getting into Europe, Bournemouth as well, and then you look at the fact that Leeds are only sort of 6 points behind Brentford, only 10 points behind Bournemouth. That is only 3 wins and a draw, really. And you talk about how fine the margins are. Leeds only confirmed their Premier League survival about 2 or 3 weeks ago, so it is a very, very tight season. It bodes well for next season if all these sides can maintain these levels. In the meantime, Brentford have won themselves a free kick, but it's a long way out from goal.
Very wide on the right-hand side. Be an outswinger from Jensen. It's cleared away by the back heel there. Campbell out for another set piece. A corner this time. So I don't think it didn't beat the first man, but it also isn't the worst delivery in the world. Maybe if someone's running in front of him.
It is. I mean, I think the idea was for that ball to be hitting the penalty area of that sort of height, and that obviously involves no defender tracking it, which was always a bit of wishful thinking from Jensen, really. But I completely agree with that. If that ball isn't taken by Campbell, then it's a nice height for 2 or 3 players to be able to attack.
On the right-hand side, in the first half, Brentford going left to right, Palace right to left. Yannick with the in-swinger right on the goalkeeper. Nodded wide there at the front post. Taro was there. So there was that many bodies. It was a melee. No one. Again, it's almost teams are still getting the goalkeeper involved. Of course, everyone thinks of now the West Ham and Arsenal, a VAR goal, foul here, there, everywhere. Won't bring it up in terms of opinions, but it's almost that players are now not having to go to the goalkeeper, but they're still pushing and shoving in the air.
They are. I mean, I think that it's interesting that over the past week there have been all kinds of suggestions. I mean, the former assistant referee that's now doing a bit of BBC work, Mr. Khan, he was suggesting that ban players from the 6-yard box. Well, that's just going to mean they're going to push and shove everywhere else. It's not going to solve the issue. The issue is that teams have been pushing the referee's patience in terms of contact before and during a set piece for that long that it's now got to the stage where it's just full-on MMA that we're seeing in the box some of the time. And obviously football fans who aren't watching MMA are saying, well, that's not what we want to see. But it's getting to the stage where referees are either going to have to ignore 90% of it, or they're just going to have to start giving free kicks and penalties every time it happens until all the players learn to stop doing it.
Yeah, it's one of them. It's very opinionated, of course, isn't it? Some people thought it was a foul, all right. Some people think, well, there's a foul here. So
I would say, in terms of the Arsenal one, I think there probably is a foul on Raya, but there's other things going on there as well. There's a push that leads to the foul, and it is, as I say, the fact that it took that long is also frustrating. But you know, it's say, I mean, for everything that we're talking about that happened in London last week. I mean, look what happened north of the border in the middle of the week. You know, these things are always going to cause more problems. But Brentford, in the meantime, have won themselves a throw, and it's close enough for Coyote to try and launch it into the box.
You spoke about them having the long throwing specialist. That's exactly what the Italian full-back is. It's high and wide on the right-hand side, as Paul said. All eyes on Thiago. Ayer is up there as well. Collins got bodies in there. It's lovely long throws per usual. brought down, but then Kamada clears it long and clears it away. I'll say the last maybe, I'll give or take, Paul pass it over to me. The game's calmed down. I won't say Brentford have found a rhythm and are coming forward, but I think Palace, if anything, slowed down a little bit, which is allowing Brentford back into this game. Ball forward, Brentford want a free kick. That was looking to be more of a collision. Referee this afternoon is Samuel Barrett, as Paul's already said. Long ball forward, Strand Larsen brings it down. Lovely first touch, and as the second touch is a little bit behind him, and then he tries to play a ball, and he loses his footing almost. But Brentford pick the ball back up. Just over half an hour played at the G-Tech. Brentford 0, Crystal Palace 1. Penalty spots with the goal. Ball into the box. Thiago back across the face of goal. Opportunity is saved by Henderson, but is it a poor strike in the box there? Lovely. The flag man had got up as well. Lovely ball into Thiago. It just couldn't be finished. Collins, the skipper, was in there. Watching it back was Thiago. Our cameras panned to the lines when Thiago.
He might have been, he might have not. It's very difficult to tell because the foot of Lacroix might just be playing him on there as well. Once the header comes down, Collins barely gets a toe end to it, really. That's probably why it makes it that little bit easier for Henderson. Take nothing away, Henderson gets his body in the way, and then he dives on the ball as well to make sure there's no rebound. But if Collins got any of his laces on that, I think he scores.
It's one of them where, well, the goal would have been taken away, but VAR would have looked at it anyway. So there was a free kick, but my word, lovely cushion header from Thiago. Collins, you just feel as well, I don't want to hit his ifs, buts and maybes. Maybe if that's Collins nodding it for Thiago in the box, he slots it away, of course, trying to chase down Erling Haaland, the top of the Premier League goal scoring ranks. Brentford have some defending to do now with Wharton. So a little bit further back, maybe giving Palace a little bit too much respect here. Kamada down the left hand side. Mitchell fizzes one into the box, goes for absolutely everyone. Will keep it alive. To the feet of Campbell, who is on his more natural right hand side of the back three. Since he was sold in the January window, it's almost been Richards on the right and Clark centrally and Campbell off the left, whereas Riyad is off the left this afternoon. Campbell on the right hand side. They've been depleted a lot of Palace this season, and that maybe just January is a month, maybe going into February, that real poor form, and then they're picked back up in the Conference League and the league. Kamada outside the area, flings it in for Strand Larsen, knocks it down for Sarr, back to Strand Larsen off the post. Mitchell's there, strike is blocked away. Coyote clears it, but only for a strike from Kamada. That's blocked away as well. Kept alive by Wharton. Strand Larsen cuts inside, he goes for a strike, that's blocked away as well. Kept alive and all the way back here will go Riyad. That was a messy piece of play. I mean, Kelleher was stood on his...
How are Palace not 2-0 up now, Lewis? Honestly, I mean, there were 3 opportunities for... I mean, I thought Mitchell had 2 opportunities to shoot from 4 or 5 yards, and he was still trying to set himself. There's the effort from Strand Larsen. I mean, it starts off with the ball at the edge of the area. It's Kamada falling, and then it's teed up. I don't know why Sarr's not going for goal after it's teed up for him by Strand Larsen. Strand Larsen's effort is then blocked. Then Mitchell with a heavy touch, he can't go for goal. Then Kamada's effort is blocked before it's eventually played away. But the effort from Strand Larsen, he pings that beautifully, left-footed, but curls it right onto the post.
Well, it might take a deflection off of Collins, I want to say, as well, which might have curved it even further away. That's the run there. You're right about Mitchell. He unfortunately just all left foot there, wasn't it? If he tries to take a touch with his left to bring it down, that takes him inside. If he takes it awkwardly, yes, with his right foot, he might have got a strike on target and made it 2-0. Palace do have a free kick on the left-hand side, not too far from goal. Wharton will swing one and it's not ball into the box from the Blackburn man. A bit of head tennis outside the penalty area. Palace will keep it in. Just as I'm sitting here saying that we'll go all the way back to Henderson, good press from Brentford. Just as I'm saying, oh, the game's calmed down. Palace now have almost just upped the gear and they're looking for a second.
Yeah, and it almost seems like they can do that at will. Brentford had to really work very hard to get any kind of attacking possession, whereas Palace have almost said, right, we're going to go on the attack now, and they were able to do it. But they've just lost the ball in the final third, and Brentford have done exactly the same thing, because Jensen has played a ball down the right channel when it's at least 20 yards away from Eagle Thiago.
I'm not saying they're going to make a change before half-time. If they do, it's going to be the 15-minute break. Looking at the bench, still like some Reece Nelson Fox hasn't really had a sniff to see. You've got Kevin Schade. There's not too many options I will say on the bench, but could you see maybe Schade coming on from one of those midfield free Damsgaard drops in there?
Possibly. De Silva could come on as well. He's back after over 2 years out with injuries. He made his return Very welcome return for Brentford in the last couple of weeks, and I'm sure the fans will be hoping that he can make another appearance on home soil today. But yeah, I mean, in terms of attacking options, Schade, Nelson and De Silva, I mean, he has also experimented, Keith Andrews, a couple of times with playing Aaron Hickey as a central midfielder. I think he did, although it was written up differently, I think that actually ended up being the case away to Man City as well. So there are a couple of options for him to try and spice up that midfield if he feels like he needs to.
I only say a bit, of course, I'm not even saying that you go to a back three, but you go to a back three, go man to man against Palace and put them under
I think
pressure.
The problem for Brentford in this half has been their midfield in their final third. I mean, obviously defensively they haven't been brilliant because they have allowed Palace a certain amount of attacks, but that's also down to the fact that they've not really been able to keep the ball away from their penalty area for long enough.
No, they haven't. Ball forward for Thiago. Again, he looks like he's absolutely fatigued. Does a Brazilian forward? He's not really moving as well as you would see. I don't know if that's because he's trying to pick and choose his moments. Now he's kind of picks it up, plays it to the left-hand side. Ball is fizzed into the box, cleared away by Lacroix, out for a corner. And sometimes when I watch Thiago, he does look like a little bit. The best way to just talk is lazy, but to me, it's almost I can't win the ball. There's no point me pressing three defenders. I'm going to pick and choose my moments because he's a big striker. And you see with Haaland, he's a bigger striker. If you're 5'9" and nimble, you can press and press and press. It's almost Thiago picking and choosing.
No, it is. It absolutely is. And as we say that, Brentford have got themselves a set piece and a good chance to get the ball into the box.
From the far side, be an in-swinger, maybe an out-swinger. Thiago with his arm up in there. Will be an in-swinger. Comes out to punch it. Does Henderson gets a good punch on it in the end as well. Forces Brentford quite wide on the right-hand side. Yarmouth comes away with it, but he's pressed out by two players. Kamada tackled by Coyote. That's a poor pass on the left-hand side by Mitchell. So Brentford will throw in and do take it quickly. 37 minutes. We're in the 37 minutes, I should say. About to take over up to the 37-minute. Brentford 0. Crystal Palace 1-1. Welcome if you're joining us. Independent off-tube studio commentary. Action from the G-Tech. It's Brentford 0. Crystal Palace 1 thanks to a Sam penalty. Inside the first 5 or 6 minutes of this game. Ball forward, poke forward for Thiago down the left-hand side. Ball back into the box just behind Ouattara there. It's cleared away. Strand Larsen dropping a little bit deeper once again. Well held there by Janels. Damsgaard looks to play it into Ouattara. Way too much on it there from the midfielder. That was played for a goal. You can see the idea. He had to get a good amount of power on it to find Ouattara. Just a little bit too much on it. As well, Damsgaard comes a bit more centrally there and trying to be the front three, get a bit more fluidity, but once again, just a little bit off the mark.
It is a bit off the mark. I think it's down to Brentford having so little of the ball in the final third that Palace have had the odd misplaced pass, in their final third, but it hasn't mattered because they've had plenty of other good possession. Whereas with Brentford, they've not created that many opportunities. So every time they lose the ball, it almost feels like you notice it that little bit more.
Yeah, 100%. And for me, I'm not sitting there saying how many times teams have had 20% possession and when I feel when you just get on the ball, you get comfortable on it, you hit your passing ranges, that's ball at the back and Palace are coming forward. Heavy pass for Sarr, he's not going to get there. Collins is asking for an offside. Ball comes into the box, headed away by Coyote. That's an important header. Pino was lurking at the back sticks. Long ball forward, looking to find Thiago. Instead of find Damsgaard. Lovely first touch to bring it down. Plays it forward for Thiago, asking a lot of the Brazilian there. And puts it away for throwing on the left-hand side. But that's not the first time there's been a mess and a mix-up in the back there for Brentford.
No, there hasn't, and but Palace, they're trying to capitalise, and they can see it's a little bit chaotic for Brentford at the back, but now they've taken a quick throw on this occasion, and it's Lewis Potter's ball back to Damsgaard, which has been cleared back into midfield, but here comes Yarmouth.
Looking for options to the right-hand side for Jensen. Poor pass, and there, looking at it, Yarmouth up to bail him out a little bit, leaves it for Colin. I don't think Jensen's having a good game at all so far. I think he's been passing to him a little bit off the boil. Yarmouth to that man, Jensen. Maybe Brentford just trying to slow it down and get a bit of possession of their own. After skipper Collins, it does all play back to Kelleher in goal. No changes in the scores elsewhere. Everton, Sunderland, and Leeds, Brighton, and both goalless. As Paul mentioned before, Wolves have 1-0 up. That's from Mane strike. 1-0 they lead against Fulham, and here it is 1-0 to the Eagles against the Bees. Of course, catch all those games. The ones on the service as well as the triple header. Just closing on full time in the relegation bottom six in Scotland. So that'll be the last minute there. Of course, past 5, Newcastle and West West Ham. Big game, bottom of the table. Paul mentioned earlier, Arsenal against Burnley tomorrow night. That'll be on this service as well. Ball into the box, but Tara wants to head it on, but that's headed away by Mitchell Yarmouth. That's a decent ball into the box, and it's in the back of the nets. It was a lovely ball. Tara wanted it more than the Palace defenders. He gets it, knocks it in. Henderson, he's all at sea. There's nothing he can do about it. And we're just about 5 minutes before half-time. Brentford do get back into it. It's Brentford 1, Crystal Palace 1.
It is, but the trouble is, Dango Atara, the way he celebrates a goal, it's almost like he's slowing down after a sprint. He doesn't really put his arms up. I actually thought for a second there was an offside in that, because it's almost like he started celebrating and then stopped, but there's absolutely no offside. It's a lovely, powerful header into the corner. Brentford have been looking better in the last 10 or 15 minutes. This is by far a vintage Brentford performance in this first half. But overall, when you look at how much attacking possession they've had in the last 10-15 minutes especially, they would argue that well, there could have been an offside actually. If Mitchell had stayed in line with the rest of his teammates, then Coyote would have been at least 2 yards offside. But in the end, the ball in from Yarmouth, and the defending, I mean, there's question marks all over there for Palace, I think.
Yeah, you're right. He celebrates it. It's headed from Canfor off of Otara.
That's something we couldn't see from the first angle that we had. The ball actually ricochets off Otara. So the ball is being headed by Camvo, and he heads it straight into the head of Otara, who then redirects it with Henderson already rooted going to the right, and suddenly the ball darts off to the left. He couldn't do anything about it.
I feel for Camvo there, because it's very unlucky, of course, but it was a poor header to me at the same time, and Otara just almost made his own look like, because he could have almost seen it was being cleared away, stepped back, he almost went, I'm just going to step forward, comes off his head, but it'll go down like his goal, of course.
No, it will, and I think the frustration there is from Palace is that they haven't really looked that threatened, but now all of a sudden Brentford on the attack again.
Thiago inside the penalty area, puts it across the face of goal. That's exactly where he wants to be, on the end of that. Will trickle out for a goal kick, I do believe, very close to the corner flag, but that's a perfect opportunity of a striker making that channel run, putting it in the box and thinking, I want to be on the end of that, not head out here.
He does. I just think it's a shame that he does it more out of instinct. If he could have just taken a split second longer and looked up, he would have seen that Damsgaard and Otara were just a little bit too far away to make it if he puts that cross exactly into that spot. And in the end, the ball across just a little bit too quick. But a good response here from Brentford towards the end of the half.
They're ending it much the better of the two sides. And take the lead into half-time. We'll have to wait and see on that one. As well as you say, if he'd got his head up, he pulled it back more closer to the penalty spot, might have been a better one.
Yeah, but you say taking the lead, that's exactly what Everton have done. They have just taken the lead against Sunderland, and it's Martin Roll with the goal there for Everton. Merlin Roll, I beg your pardon, making it 1-0 to Everton in that game. So that just leaves the game at Ellen Road between Leeds and Brighton. That is the only 0-0 so far this afternoon.
That makes it very interesting. I know we spoke about European places here, there, everywhere. Everton in 9th, 3 points above Chelsea, now level with Brentford, 2 points off of Brighton, 3 points off of Bournemouth in 6th place. It's Everton this season, because they've just gone so under the radar for me, because they've been involved in a lot of relegation battles over the last 4 or 5 years. We're almost like a cat in a tree. How did that end up there? How are Everton 9th? Just because they've just been grinding out results.
It's very true, and when you think that Bournemouth's game in hand is going to be against Manchester City in midweek, I mean, of course, City will still be fighting for the title, so if Bournemouth get any points from that, we'll have to wait and see. But it does mean that all those sides just behind Bournemouth now might still feel as though they can be caught.
100%. And Bournemouth, as you say, that's not an easy feat. Brighton last year this season, they host Manchester United. You've already spoke about Brentford, they go away to Liverpool. It's not an easy end of the season, as you don't look at really any games and go, oh, that'll be a hard one. You'd have to say maybe Wolves against Burnley, the bottom two be on the final day. That should be very interesting. See how that one does go. Tottenham against Chelsea in midweek. A few of the fixtures to come ball forward here, looking for Sarr. And as we said, 44 minutes on the clock. Now into the 45th minute, just 1 minute left of stoppage time. Apart from the VAR review, not been 2 minute stoppages, it's been quite fluid, maybe 2 or 3 minutes it was with the VAR, but it almost has been that Crystal Palace were finding some great fluidity, they're playing some good stuff. The passes, Brentford couldn't get near them, Brentford taking every touches. Now that Brentford are playing some good football, it's almost that Palace have gone a little bit off the ball.
Yes, it certainly has swung that way. Now Palace are now struggling to get hold of the ball, and Brentford are feeling that little bit more confident. And just as we say that, Wharton's been caught in possession. There's a ball over the top here for Eagles. Thiago, just a little bit too much bounce on that, and it gets through to Henderson.
Credit to Henderson, he reads that really well, but as you said, it's just bounces before Thiago gets there, and then he just runs away from him into the arms of Thiago, pressing down there from Lautaro. Comes off him last as he plays it off of him. But I mean, this is an example of, it's cliche as it comes, but a goal changes games. He's got Lautaro there, he's got his goal, yes, he's lucky, but he's pressing down. It's like they've got a second wind in this first half because they know they've got an equaliser back in it.
No, they do. That they'll feel as though Palace can be got at now, because certainly the first 15-20 minutes, Palace looked like a side that were very difficult to try and decipher. But we're now into injury time, and no surprise. I mean, the VAR check alone took about 3 minutes, and we're going to have 4 minutes at the end of this half.
Minutes of stoppage time. Well, we were going into a 15-minute break, or sometimes the players make it more, 17 or 18 over these days. Will it be one apiece, or side to find a breakthrough? Will Brentford lead for the first half? Both all looking for Sarr. Poor from, as I said, Poor from Waterfield, an open pass to make well overhit at the same time. Palace regained their lead, going one apiece on Brentford take the lead first time this afternoon. I'm sure Keith Andrews will sit there and be quite happy with how his team responded. They'll open in half an hour, you'd sit there and go, you've been really poor, but the last 15 minutes, probably argue, I would say that Brentford have been the better side. That's a clear handball though from the Brentford midfield. I'm surprised. From what I saw, he put his arm out, if I'm being perfectly honest, there from Janelt.
Yeah, it looked like Janelt. Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous. I think just for the sheer audacity, he deserves a yellow card there. Does the German midfielder? We haven't had confirmation of him getting a yellow card, but I think he really should get it, because I mean, that's just so blatant. I mean, I don't think you can see a clearer demonstration of someone not trying to play the ball. He's clearly just got his arm out to almost make a save there. But just as they go into injury time at Molineux, Fulham have got a penalty away to Wolves as well.
Interesting. I don't know if Raul Jimenez is starting, but he's got every Premier League penalty he's taken. Hasn't his perfect record
up against his former team where he started that record as well.
So that'll be interesting to see. He might not be starting. I've not looked at the 11, so it'll be interesting to see. Free kick comes in. Last off Curry, no, just missed ahead of the full-back to out for a goal kick. Just hit the 2 minutes of the 4. Oh, what a stoppage time. So halfway through, looks like we're going into half-time, one apiece.
Just for the record, it is Rodrigo Muniz starting today, so it won't be. Sadly, it won't be Jimenez. He is on the bench against his former club today.
I'm sure he's probably looking at Marco Silva. Please, just bring me on. I've got this great record. I'm sure I can make it one apiece. Keep an eye on that to see if Fulham do get that late equaliser from the spot, or will it be a hero's possible save from either Jose Sarr or Sam Johnston again? 50-50 goal for Wolves this season. Ball forward, Pino tries to bring it down. Brentford don't deal with it well at first, but Collins comes away with it. Plays it out to Damsgaard. He's brought down there. Referee Samuel Barrett says no, and Palace come away with the ball into the last 90 seconds of this first half. Just has it on the right hand side. It has been dispatched. Wolves 1, Fulham 1. Bumped into the area. Away though by Janelt. To Thiago, who's playing at wing back at the moment, just trying to get the ball cleared away. That's the ball clearance from Lewis Potter. Palace 4. Get a strike here from outside the area. They do. Straight down the throat of Kelleher. And as I said, Keith Andrews will be upset with that first 30 minutes. Oliver Glasgow will be happy, but the last 15 minutes they've been the better side of Brentford, and they'll be happy all his side.
Yeah, I think so. I think overall he'll say it's not been a perfect half, but they have done well to get back into the game, and now they've got to attack it with 40 seconds still to play.
So this will maybe be the last chance, or meaningful chance of the first half. Down to the overlapping Lewis Potter, ball into the boxes, deflected away, and a corner for Brentford.
Corner kick to Brentford, and Anthony Robinson, actually, I wouldn't have had him down as the second penalty taker if he's not on the field. Jimenez isn't on the field, but it's the USA left back there, Anthony Robinson, with the goal for Fulham from the spot. So it's 1-1 in that game, and they're already at half-time at Hill Dickinson, where Everton lead against Sunderland, and it's half-time at Ellen Road, where it's 0-0 between Leeds and Brighton.
10 seconds left of the 4 minutes of added time here at the G-Tech. Can Brentford grab a goal to take the lead to the half-time break? Will be an inswinger from the far side, right on to Dean Henderson. He punches it away. It's a good punch, a lot for a throw-in, and it looks like that will be half-time. The referee blows his whistle. Sarr opened the scoring inside the first 5 minutes from the penalty spot. Brentford got a lucky goal back in it, cleared away by Campbell onto the head of Lautaro and into the back of the net for half-time. It is Brentford 1, Palace 1.
Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace, and Brentford seemed to have a bit of stage fright at the start of this game. It was a very positive side for start for. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's 0-0 between. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Koeman Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post as well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Koeman Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post as well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Koeman Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post as well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Koeman Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post as well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Koeman Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post as well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Koeman Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post as well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Koeman Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post as well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Koeman Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post as well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Koeman Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post as well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Quinlan Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Quinlan Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Quinlan Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Quinlan Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Quinlan Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Quinlan Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Quinlan Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Quinlan Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Quinlan Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Quinlan Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Quinn Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post as well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Quinn Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post as well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Quinn Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post as well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Quinn Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post as well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Quinn Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post as well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Quinn Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post as well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Quinn Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post as well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Quinn Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post as well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Quinn Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post as well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Quinn Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post as well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis-Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Koeman Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Palace with a much better side inside the first 25 minutes. They struck the post well, and Strand Larsen and Sarr both hitting the woodwork before Brentford getting an equaliser towards the end after a header from Otara. 1-1. Half-time at the G-Tech, where it's a 1-1 between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead inside the first few minutes from the penalty spot after a ball was played through, and it was a clumsy challenge from Keane Lewis-Potter. He put Sarr off balance, and then he was crashed into by Koeman Keller. A long VAR review before it was confirmed. Sarr stepped up and converted the penalty himself. Let's say a very warm welcome back to second half independent off-tube studio commentary from the game at the G-Tech, where Brentford drawing 1-1 with Crystal Palace. Palace taking the lead through a very early penalty through Ismaila Sarr after a clumsy collision between Sarr and Kelleher. Kelleher the one colliding into Sarr, of course, leading to the penalty. Brentford getting an equaliser late in the first half after a ball was whipped in from the right-hand side, and as JV Campbell was trying to head it away, he headed it straight into Dango Otara, who then headed it into the net to make it 1-1 at the break. Palace with a better side for the first 20-25 minutes. Brentford with a better side in the last 15 minutes. Now the Bees on the attack down the left-hand side with a ball in from Mikkel Damsgaard. Is just behind Matthias Jensen. Chance now for Palace to clear their lines with the ball up towards half an hour. I think it's gone straight out of play. That will be a throw to Brentford in a half-decent position as well. They're just arguing with the referee Sam Barrett as to the exact location of the throw on. But it's myself, Paul Shabakovic and Lewis Raftery taking the reaction. Lewis, Brentford need to make a good start because they didn't start the first half particularly well.
No, and we pass over halfway through each half, don't we? Probably when you pass over to me, Brentford started to kind of get involved in the game. Maybe the first half, well, if they continue that momentum, they'll do well, and we've already got a long throw in here. Chance to try and send this ball into the penalty area from the left-hand side. It is a long throw from Coyote. It's nodded on. It's inside the penalty area. Next touch with that, though, is Adam Wharton, who hooks it clear. There's a man down for Palace. There may well be a head collision, or certainly a head injury there. Lacroix is down holding his face, so our referee stops play. So it gives me a chance just to remind you of the two starting 11s. There haven't been any changes at half-time. In fact, I take it back. There has just been a change confirmed to us in the last few moments as far as Crystal Palace are concerned. So Brennan Johnson coming on to replace Yeremy Pino. But no change for Brentford, so they have Koeman Kelleher in goal. Then it's a back four of Michael Coyote, Christopher Ayer, Nathan Collins and Keane Lewis-Potter. Vitali Yano and Yerko Yarmolyuk are the two holder midfielders, and Dango Otara, Matthias Jensen and Mikkel Damsgaard as the attacking midfield three, playing behind Igor Thiago for Palace. It's Dean Henderson in goal. Back three of Chadi Riyad, Maxence Lacroix and JD Cambo. Then it's four across the middle, Daniel Munoz, Daichi Kamada, Adam Wharton and Tyreek Mitchell, with Ismaila Sarr, Brennan Johnson, who's just come on for Pino, and Jorgen Strand Larsen as the attacking three. There will be an enforced change here for Palace, because right now it looks like Lacroix is in a bit of a bad way. He looks quite groggy there. He does, and they always say about the eyes don't lie kind of thing. He looks like, well, he'll want to continue, of course, will the Frenchman. He's back to his feet, but he looks a bit groggy. Well, he's going to be worried, of course, because I mean, did the concussion protocols spread into UEFA games as well? I mean, if he's got to wait sort of 7 days or 10 days, that would put his appearance in the Europa Conference final against Rayo Vallecano, of course. That's when Palace will be ending their season 3 or 4 days after the end of the Premier League season. And it is a drop ball here. Brentford were in possession. Whether or not they're going to give the ball back to Palace, because they would have. We'll see what the Bees want to do here. It's a drop ball here from Sam Barrett to. No, Brentford play on from where they are, about 30 yards out, and it's Janelt's ball over towards Lewis-Potter. He gets a crossing, which is headed up in the air. Palace are momentarily down to 10 men. Bouncing ball at the edge there, picked up by Damsgaard. He tries to go for goal. Ball deflects up in the air after his effort, and then it's hooked clear and back towards the halfway line. Still keeping an eye on that touchline to see whether Lacroix is coming back onto the field as Jensen hooks the ball up towards the edge of the penalty area. And that one will be cleared by Riyad out for a throw. And actually, he got a deflection of the Brentford man. There's supposed to be a throw to Palace. That's a welcome break from the defending that they had to do. As Tyreek Mitchell's just been sent back a couple of yards from where the throw on is taken. They're still not showing us Lacroix, so I can only assume he's still being checked over for now. Yeah, that's what my thought was as well. I mean, we covered the game of the Chesterfield-Notts County first leg, and one of their players picked up the head injury, played on, then 10 minutes later you could just see almost that adrenaline wore off. So you've got to have that in the back of your mind, haven't you? yeah, let me come on now, I want to get back on, then in 10 minutes the quad just goes, oh, it's hitting me now. That's
yeah, I mean, it's quite rare that players, obviously sometimes there are sort of other factors involved, but generally speaking players don't want to go off just for the sake of it. They much prefer to stay on the field. Brentford have now won themselves a throw on. It's still 30 yards from goal, but this isn't going to stop Michael Coyote trying to get some real distance on this throw from the right-hand side. He's got plenty to aim for inside that penalty area as well. Here comes the ball in from Coyote, edge of the 6-yard box, nodded clear. Decent header away there by Kamada. Then it's a ball up towards the halfway line. The last man back for Brentford there is Yeko Yarmoliuk. He's under a bit of pressure there from Johnson, so he rolls the ball back towards Kelleher, who's wandered a long way out from his goal. No need to be right on his line, as Palace is still a long way away from him. And it's a long ball now towards the edge of the area, taken down by Igor Thiago, trying to touch it on for Otara. Cleared back into midfield. It's Ayer's header, picked up here by Johnson. He plays it back towards Tyreek Mitchell. Mitchell gets caught in possession though, and suddenly Brentford have it back, but they don't take advantage of that easy. I can say now that he is back on the field now. I think Lacroix, just looking at who just cleared the ball there, but they still never really showed it to us, him coming back on the field. But if he was going to be off for this long, they would have made a change by now, you think?
Yeah, or would have maybe just been sitting there thinking, oh, we need to really get someone ready really quickly, don't you? And you feel for whoever's coming on, but he's back on the field of play, and again, it's maybe even in his back of his mind, he doesn't want to put his head in there because he's already taken a knock, and again, it might just wear it off. And we didn't really see a really good replay of it. We just saw him sat down, looking at, as you point out, a little bit groggy, a little bit hesitant to get back up. As you said, he won't want to come off, but sometimes you've got to take the decision out of his hands.
It may well be taken out of his hands, absolutely. But for the time being, he is back on the field. Palace back to full strength, and they're on the attacking as well. Down the right-hand side, Munoz and Sarr exchanging passes. Ball now played back towards Camvo. Seems to have just switched sides here with Riyad. I certainly see it does look as though Riyad's now moved over to be the left-hand side of the back three, and Camvo's moved to the right. I do wonder what the thinking behind that is.
Yeah, he's more right-footed, Camvo, obviously, isn't he? But since Gahey's left, it's been Richards on the right, Camvo on the left, Lacroix centrally. So I don't know if that's maybe, again, a tactic tweak. We'll have to wait and see. Here come Palace.
They do at the edge of the area now. Strand Larson trying to get the ball back. Brentford struggling to clear their lines, though. It's played into the penalty area. There's Kamada. Oh, was he brought down inside the penalty area? Palace asking the question, but they play on in the meantime. Ball's into the 6-yard box. He's behind Strand Larson. Drops to Munoz. He can't go for goal. Then it's back to Wharton. Wharton, oh, it goes straight through the goalkeeper. And Palace retake the lead 7 minutes into the second half. I mean, there was a good shout for a penalty for Palace in the midst of all that anyway, but when the ball drops to Wharton, he had too much time. But then I think that Kelleher has got to be asking questions of himself there.
Yeah, I thought that was poor goalkeeper, at least on first watch. He just drives it low, doesn't he? And it goes underneath the goalkeeper. Unless he takes a deflection off of someone to off-put Kelleher, I think the goalkeeper's going to be doing much better there. Also, we just saw what I would call a Nani-esque backflip there from Wharton. Didn't think he had that in his locker, to be quite honest. So maybe Glasgow saw that and thought, ooh, a bit worried there as he's going over. Again, you can just see by Kelleher's face. He's disappointed in himself, but doesn't take it away. Like I said, there was a penalty shout as well. I think it was a bit clumsy from both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. There's no offside in the build-up. They were just showing us a freeze frame as that first ball was played into the box. By the time the second ball comes in, yeah, there might be a foul there from Coyote, but it might be okay. But then when this ball is only partially cleared to the edge of the area, nobody's really watching Wharton. And yeah, Kelleher's got to do better there. I mean, even if there is a line of players in front of him, he can see enough of the ball and he's just diving too late.
He is. Again, I think it's a lovely, just the power that Wharton gets on it is a good finish. It's a good first touch. Again, Sal lets it go through his legs, doesn't he? He's not unsighted by anyone or anything, so it is poor from Kelleher. And unfortunately, with how it will go, the penalty is a bit harsh, but it will go down as his foul on side. It was Keane Lewis Potter as well, wasn't it? But to say that he's giving away the penalty, side dispatched it, he makes a mistake for the Wharton goal, he's not having a good afternoon.
No, he's not. And Jean-Philippe Mateta, he loves that. He's celebrating there on the touchline with the other Palace subs. Yeah, so Brentford back to where they started when they conceded early inside the first half. They looked a little bit flat, not really doing too much going forward. They've actually had a couple of decent moments going forward in the start of the second half, but they now have conceded early in the second 45 as well. So how do they respond from here? As Lewis Potter down the left-hand side gets it in towards Damsgaard. Back towards towards Janel. Now a ball in towards the edge of the area. Collins just at the edge of the box, playing it in towards Damsgaard, who is brought down by Lacroix. That will be a free kick to Brentford about 30 yards out. It was Jensen who was brought down.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the swing one into the box here. You'd like to get. He's one of them, isn't it, where I mean, it's a lot farther actually than I first originally thought. I'm not saying you can't go for goal, but you want to get this into the box and get a good delivery, because Palace have got a good set piece defending and attacking them. So Brentford, they've got a lot of tall players. He's still down as Jensen. This might be a bit worrying.
Yeah, he looks like he needs a bit of pain there as well. He's having his left knee checked over. Brentford have had a bit of bad luck with knee injuries over the last couple of seasons. Certainly Jensen, one of their longest serving players. It would be a bit of a disaster if he was to have to go off with an injury now. But the full bench is De Silva, Furrow, Henderson, Hickey, Nelson, Pinnock, Schade, Vandenberg, and the goalkeeper Valdemarsson. For Palace it is Klein, Devaney, Gussand, Hughes, Lerma, Mateta, Richards, and the goalkeeper Benitez. And of course they've already brought on Brennan Johnson. He came on at the start of the second half for Jeremy Pino. We're just getting another replay of the second Palace goal. I mean, it is a decent strike from Wharton, and yes, Sarr does get his foot out the way, but for me, Kelleher can see it all the way.
Again, he just needs to do better, and again, for all the... it goes underneath, we could make excuses for him, and again, I think it's, as you said, it's a good hit from Wharton. You don't want to take anything away from his strike, but as a goalkeeper, Kelleher will be the first person, because you saw by his face reaction, he'll be the first person to say, yes, that's on me, I need to do better there. But unfortunately, and that doesn't mean it doesn't go in the back of the net.
No, the goal, obviously the goal still stands. Brentford are now 2-1 down. They're down to 10 men momentarily as well, as Jensen's gone off now with that knee injury. So Damsgaard and Janel, two free kick takers, are standing over it, looking back towards the touchline. So it may well be they're getting a final instruction from Keith Andrews as to what to do, as Damsgaard now floats that ball into the box. And yeah, I always think that a set piece that's relying on one ball being played to one player has always got a bit of a risk attached to it. Brentford aren't happy here, but the referee in the meantime has just given I think he's just given the goal kick. We'll have a look at this angle. I mean, there's an arm across there from Munoz. I mean, VAR may want to have a look at it. It's an interesting one.
I think the problem is, I don't think it's a penalty personally. I mean, we've seen the silly things given. I think it's more that the hands in the face. He doesn't grab his face, but he doesn't move his arm. Or he keeps it there, doesn't he? And sometimes you see him do that, then he'll go, oh, that's your face, let me put it on your chest or shoulder. It's more that Munoz doesn't move it away. I don't think it's going to be a penalty.
No, it shouldn't be. There's not enough of a foul there for me. As Kevin Schade now getting ready to come on for Brentford, but the ball's back in play in the meantime. 57 minutes on the clock. Unofficial independent off-tube studio commentary, where it's Brentford 1, Crystal Palace 2. No change in any of the other games, so it's still 1-0 to Everton against Sunderland. Still goalless between Leeds and Brighton. And it's still 1-1 between Wolves and Fulham still to come. Newcastle against West Ham. That kicks off in just over an hour. 5:30 kickoff. And indeed, all the other games coming up over the next few days available on our service. The Monday night game tomorrow, as well as the two games we mentioned. Arsenal-Burnley is the game tomorrow, of course. Bournemouth, Man City, and Chelsea against Spurs are the two games on Tuesday. And it's the Europa League final on Wednesday. Gear up for the playoffs, and indeed the last day of the season next weekend. So that's how it all looks across our service over the next week or so. Ball now back here with Dean Henderson. Long clearance from the goalkeeper, right over the top, headed away here by Christopher Ayer, but he heads it straight to Daichi Kamada. Kamada in towards Adam Wharton. Wharton pushing forward now. His pass is blocked off by Janel. Second ball out towards the left-hand side. Visitors now just trying to pile on a little bit more pressure in terms of the attacking possession. Ball now played back towards the halfway line. That loose ball almost gets picked off here by Coyote. Ball gets played all the way back now towards Henderson. Loose bit of closing down there from Igor Thiago, but a long clearance from Henderson, and nodded clear initially by Collins. He seems okay to play on. That was a poor challenge on Ayer, but referee says play on, and the ball through towards Igor Thiago is maybe 1 or 2 yards short of where it needs to be. Ball now cleared back over the halfway line. straight back towards Brentford possession with those fine details. That same pass, but just with an extra yard or two to Igor Thiago, would have had a better chance.
He's probably one-on-one, isn't he? I know he's got the quad breathing down his neck, but you probably back Thiago to create a good chance. I think as well, Otaro was in a good bit of space, just pass couldn't be found to him. Here comes Brentford again.
Yeah, this time it's Yano trying to thread a ball through down the right-hand side towards Igor Thiago. He's well marshalled, though that ball is cleared away. Good work there by Mitchell, because that would have been a throw for Brentford. Level with the edge of the area, but now a ball to the halfway line. Ismail Assar with a heavy touch. He's dispossessed by Nathan Collins, who's off down the left-hand side now. Plays the ball in towards Keane Lewis Potter. Just checks back onto his right foot. Gets the ball in, which is punch clear by Henderson. Eventually, it was quite effective. I thought it might have been slightly risky with the number of Brentford players around him. Now a ball towards the halfway line. Strand Larsen is literally down on his knees, begging the referee for a decision there. But Sam Barrett made his mind up fairly quickly that there wasn't any foul on the big Norwegian. So it's Brentford now back in possession down the right-hand side with Coyote. Gets it into Otaro. Otaro all the way to the edge of the area. He wants a corner kick. He's going to get a corner kick as well. Brentford now with a chance from the set piece.
Oh, set piece is always a chance out there in the Premier League. As we said, see so much pushing and shoving, that'll be more of the same. I think it's a lovely ball in from Lewis Potter. I think it's decisive keeping for Henderson. Some keepers might let it slide, and you said you let me defenders deal with it as changes coming up for Palace. So quite is going to come off for Richards.
Yeah, it is. Yes, so one sort of defensive regular being replaced by another. Maxence Lacroix is off. Chris Richards comes on to replace him now. So Richards on the field. There was another change though. We did see Mateta getting ready to come on. So I think it's not going to take too much guesswork to decide that it's likely to be Strand Larsen to go off. I think it would be rather a shock to see Palace have two big men up front in a game like this where they're already 2-1 up away from home. But we'll wait and see. Just for the obvious, the confirmation that it is a like-for-like swap of big strikers. Jürgen Strand Larsen is off. Jean-Philippe Mateta is on to replace him.
Yeah, I mean, basically that's when you have two strikers with a similar profile of each other. I think Mateta's maybe a better physical presence. Strand Larsen's a better presser, but they are both, tall, big strikers. It's almost right. It reminds me of a bit of an upgrade on a Muniz and a Jimenez, right? One just starts, one comes off the bench, whoever's on form, you're going to play.
Yes, I think there's definitely a good analogy there, and wait to see, of course, how he can get into the game now, Mateta, because his first role is to come back and help and defend this corner, which is a high hanging ball towards the back post, headed across the 6-yard box by Thiago before it's volleyed clear and over the halfway line by Brennan Johnson. It will be mopped up here by Coyote for Brentford. He can't take too long. The ball is being closed down, and eventually he doesn't take the risk. He just goes all the way back towards Kelleher, who's wandered a long way out from goal, and his long ball is too long. In fact, it goes all the way through towards Henderson.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest of balls left. It looks like Sharda's ready to come on as well. Again, just because you did Brentford are 2-1 down, for me you'd have to. I won't be taking Damsgaard, Wataro, or Thiago off. I'm rather than the options. You'd probably be one of the midfield three. I would probably then put Damsgaard behind, supporting Thiago and Sharda and Wataro on the wing.
Yes, I think that's potentially what they're going to do. Jensen rarely plays a full 90 these days, so it might just be that would be the logical thing to do there. We'll wait and see exactly what Keith Andrews has in mind, as we can now see. It's going to be a double change. Henderson's getting ready to go on as well, so that definitely is going to spell the end of Matthias Jensen. He will be replaced here by. Would it be Henderson or would it be Sharda actually officially coming on for him? It looks like, according to the TV pictures, it is Jensen and Janelt going off. So yeah, that would make sense. Henderson comes on for Vitaly Janelt, and then Kevin Sharda goes into the attacking midfield three, with Damsgaard now going into the number 10 role.
Yeah, 100%. And I think Damsgaard, that's where he, for me, is the most dangerous centrally. I mean, playing the midfield three, I think when he's in the forward three, he's just not got the pace to be a winger. He's got the technical ability and the eye to create a chance, 100%. But it's like it's like putting Bruno Fernandes at right wing. You can play there. Would you have him there? No. And now you've got attacking direct pace from Mataro and Sharda, and more importantly, you've got goal-scoring wingers. Damsgaard can create those chances. That's
the idea, to try and give them that extra attacking option. By the way, if we didn't mention it, Talby has made it to 1-1 at the Hill Dickinson Stadium between Everton and Sunderland. So 1-1 in that game. Still goal of set to Ellen Road. 1-1 at Molineux between Wolves and Fulham. And of course, in our game here, it's Brentford 1 and Crystal Palace 2. It's Brentford in possession, with Yarmoliuk down the right-hand side for Coyote. Back into Henderson. His first touch is a ball over the top to no one in particular. Thiago will chase it, but Henderson will just watch that go all the way out for a goal kick. The idea was right from Henderson. Execution just a little bit overplayed in the end. Now for a goal kick to be taken here by Dean Henderson, and no surprise that he's not sort of charging to take this straight away. Palace do have a lead in this game, of course, so he'll be wanting to just take his time as much as he can.
Yeah, maybe a little bit early, 64 minutes on the clock, but you are right, they're going to take... It's more after the 80th minute, right, all this throwing, just slowly. Oh, you want me to go back, referee? No problem. Oh, back and forth. We see it all the time, and we've covered games recently, and we've seen it, haven't we? Maybe a little bit early. You never see a goalkeeper sent off yellow card for time wasting the second one, but it's a little bit early to be maybe, I think, questioning the referee of the time management.
No, absolutely. It's still something I think that goes on a lot in football. We've seen an ex-referee this week making a statement to the media about how much time he feels is being wasted in every game. So it is something that does still need to be worked upon, and we're all conditioned to it. As I say, I mention this in my commentaries quite often, that as fans we cheer our own team when they take the ball into the corner, and when they take that little bit longer to restart play, if it's in our benefit that we cheer it, when really it's a unique thing to football where you cheer time being wasted in a professional game. It doesn't really happen in any other sport in that same sort of context. But back to the action. Brentford in possession in midfield here now with Keane Lewis Potter into Henderson. Back towards Jensen, and Henderson again down the left-hand side, finding Keane Lewis Potter. Now in towards Kevin Schade. Oh, he just asked a little bit too much of himself there, trying to just keep that ball in on the touchline. It goes out for a throw to be taken here by Munoz from the right-hand side. Too close here to Daniel Munoz right now, but from Palace's point of view, I suppose they've got a difficult balance as well, because if they sit back against the Brentford team, that's just going to encourage more attacks. But if they try and get too far forward, they might leave themselves open as well. So they've got to really try and strike the right balance.
100%, and he's so awkward, isn't he? Do you defend too early, let Brentford have all the attacks? Do you not drop back early enough, and then you can get caught on a counter? As you said, it's a real fine balance as Kelleher's under a lot of pressure there, has to clear it away. Again, because of his mistakes at the back, he looks so shaky.
He does. I mean, the look to Coyote is, why did I even get the ball there? But he had enough time to deal with that ball, really. He shouldn't have taken that touch and then waited for a Palace player to close him down. He's a little bit unhappy right now. There's the Republic of Ireland international. He's got to snap out of it quickly here, because Palace have themselves an attacking throw on. And Chris Richards, the US international, is going to try and get as much distance on this as he can. Slightly frustrated look on Richards there as he's waiting to see where his teammates are going to position themselves. There's the throw from Richards, edge of the 6-yard box, headed up in the air. It drops towards Kamada, who's just about ready to pull the trigger, but that one's played away from him by Aya. It's out for a throw to Palace, but look further away from goal.
Yeah, one thing about Chris Richards is he actually has got a really good long throw, and as you just said then, the only problem is it's very similar to, well, he's a centre-back. You want Chris Richards in there though, don't you? Which I'm not saying he's got a much better throwing than what Munoz has, but I would also rather take the lesser of the thrower and put Chris Richards in there, maybe get someone in the middle, someone at the front post and flick it over. Another long throw coming up.
Yeah, definitely. He gets a lot of long distance. I mean, he's 35 yards out from goal there, Richards, but his throw certainly made it into the penalty area. Brentford were able to nod it clear, and it's back on the halfway line now with Kamada, and he rolls it back towards Dean Henderson. Closed down here by Schade. Clearance from Henderson up towards the halfway line, but there is Coyote. Watching that ball and guiding it all the way back towards Kelleher. Brentford starting again inside their own penalty area, but they can't take too long on the ball. There's still plenty of pressing from Crystal Palace here in the final third. It's now played into Damsgaard. He turns and plays it into Schade, who dummies it to Thiago. Thiago was too far away from him though, and that ball is cleared and played back towards the edge of the Brentford penalty area. He's trying to get something started again here in midfield, but we're over the halfway mark in the second half. 68 minutes gone. It is Brentford 1, Crystal Palace 2, and it'll be Lewis take us through to full time.
Cheers, Paul. It's an interesting second half so far, hasn't it? The first half, I felt basically when you passed it over to me, is when Brentford maybe gained a bit more momentum. I thought Palace were good in the first 2.5 minutes. I thought Brentford built into the game, and ever since Palace scored with Wharton's stride, that was in the 52nd minute, really early on. the game's settled, but we just haven't had that too many chances, have we? We haven't had that frenetic energy. I'm really waiting for the game to pick up again. Substitutions could play a part.
Yeah, I think so. I think certainly Brentford making that double change for central midfield and for attack. Palace have made a couple of attacking changes and a defensive change, but with one of those changes being made at half-time, does give them that little bit more flexibility. But here come Palace now through the middle here with Wharton.
I will say, this is no offence to Brennan Johnson. Really mentioned it, apart from you mentioning made the substitution. I haven't really mentioned him. Again, they scored very early on, so it's going to change the trajectory of the game. As soon as I see that Wharton ball over the top for Munoz, can he find a ball into the box? Takes a touch, floats it into the back sticks, and Kelleher gets a palm on it, and it's cleared away by Yarmouth to the right-hand side, I believe, because Otaro could have brought it down. There's been a pause, maybe for an offside, or maybe for a foul in the penalty box. Munoz, he is offside. It just goes. That's one of the bits where you see the grass perfectly. Just can see the difference there. I think for me, he's offside, so it's not really going to matter. I think he's going to put that in first time.
He does, yeah. Those extra touches just take him a little bit further forward, and then before you know it, he's lifting it too much, and nobody in the box could use that ball anyway.
He felt like he took that touch. And, I mean, look, I feel from one of his teammates could have just slowed down the run, but it felt like always took his touch. 3 players made the same run. If you put it across the face of goal first time, you've got 3 teammates. I'm sure one will get on the end of it. Ball forward, too much on it. To the arms of the receivable neon full kit of Dean Henderson with the armband on. This afternoon, ball forward, it's headed back by Collins. Sarr takes a heavy touch, and Kelleher picks it up, tries to play it forward looking for Sharda. Of course, that change at the back as well for Palace. They've made a 3 changes, sorry, as a whole. The one at half-time was already spoke about, Mateta and Richards coming on once again at the back, but in miscommunication. Ayer's not happy with his goalkeeper, with his defenders, and very similar to when Coyote played it back to Kelleher. I'm not saying it's who's at fault, but Kelleher, if that had been when it came to him first time, and he got to move away, you go, whoa, why is the pass? But as you said, I just think he's taking too many touches, and he's almost wanting the perfect touch to play it. He's just got to boot it. At the back, they're looking a bit worrying right now.
They are. I mean, Kelleher's not great with his feet. That's why it's always going to be something that opposition teams are always going to try and exploit against Brentford. And now they've got to be careful at the home side. It's going to be a long throw from Richards.
Coyote, he's not a small player. He's a very physical, he's a strong player as well. But he's up against Mateta from this long throw-in. So the Frenchman is a target from this long throw-in. It's into the front post. John Epak from the head of Igor Thiago. Falls for Munoz, who goes for a curling effort. Way too much on it and out of play. 40-goal kick for Brentford. 72 minutes on the clock. Brentford 1, Crystal Palace 2. 3 points being picked up by the Eagles at the moment. Those 3 points in total, it does mean they do go 13th in the table, jumping above the likes of Leeds and Newcastle for the time being. Of course, we'll talk of Europe and this and that. Their eyes will be all on the Conference League final. This will be a worry. Chadi Riyad has gone down. Looks like he might have, again, with being off the ball. My assumption would be it's a muscle injury, which you never really know what they are. You've really spoken about what is the Conference League in 10 days' time? 9, 10
It's
days?
Wednesday week, isn't it? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's not looking good. And Jefferson Lerma, is this going to be a like-for-like swap? I mean, he's not centre-back, isn't his first love, but it may well be that he's going to have to fill in. I mean, they do have Nathaniel Klein on the bench, but really, apart from Richards who they brought on, there's no one really else who's naturally a centre-back.
Oh, that's right. And again, with Lacroix, the possible concussion, he was brought off within 10 minutes of picking up the knock to the face. I'm not saying it's not a concussion substitute, but it might be concussion protocol. Who knows? Chadi Riyad going off, and he looks absolutely devastated. So again, you've got to say that is this injury going to have an effect now that he might not be ready for the conference final?
Well, we'll see from this angle. He does get trodden on there by. I mean, it looks fairly innocuous from Dango Otaro. I don't think there's anything wrong in what Otaro has done, and it didn't look like there was too much contact, but he might have just really felt that on the end of his foot.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I mean, again, with your foot, again, the football boots these days, they might as well be socks. Most of them are so light.
Absolutely, yeah.
That 10, 15 years ago with a more sturdy boot might not have affected him. That could be a broken toe, there could be muscle on the bottom, you don't know. But as Paul Rapp said, it is Lerma coming on, and I think he can play the back three, can't he? If he were a back two, it'd be quite awkward, but a back three can slot nicely.
Yeah, I think he'll feel happy in that back three, and I say, he does have two very good defenders alongside him there, so he'll feel very confident in being able to do this for the next 70 minutes or so as Brentford win the ball back in midfield.
Damsgaard tries to play to the right-hand side, well intercepted though, and now Palace looking to come forward. I'm not saying Lerma is a short player, quite the contrary. The midfield probably about maybe 5'11", give or take, so I'm sure Thiago's been up against Lacroix, Richards is there and Camfort. I'm sure he's thinking, well, if I could just latch on to Jefferson Lerma, that'll be much better for me in terms of what I can get out of it. 5'10" is the central defender, whereas Igor Thiago, the 24-year-old, is 6'3". So we've already seen how good of a battle it's been between Lacroix and Igor Thiago. Might be one that I'm just going to put myself on Lerma and trying to win some headers. They have won another long throw in the here of Palace. Both teams with long throw specialists now. Richards, another good one into the area, but headed away by Thiago. Maybe a little bit too much on it because Taro was chasing it. It was actually a worse header. Might have fallen kinder for the Brentford. We get too much on that ball forward to the arms of Kelleher. 15 minutes left of the 90. And whatever stoppage time we've got left. Lewis Potter into Sharda, just blocked away by Ward. He hasn't been given a chance in this game. And here come Palace down the right-hand side. Southeast is one looking for Mateta. Nearly ends up at the feet of Brennan Johnson, but too much on it, and Tyrick Mitchell will keep it in on the left-hand side. Back to Kamada, puts it down his right boot, looking for options, spinning and turning away from a few Brentford midfielders. Two with Wharton, and again, I just feel unfortunate that the Brentford changes. Henderson, I mean, he's done the job of defensive midfielder. You don't mention him; they do having a good game. Sharda, not had an impact so far.
No, he's not really been able to get on the ball. He had that one opportunity down the left and he couldn't keep it in play. He's been involved a couple of other times, but other than that, not really seen too much of the ball at all. But with 14 minutes plus injury time to play, Brentford will still feel as though there's enough time to do something.
100%, there is a long time. And time is not the enemy at the moment for the Bees. On ball forward, Thiago must have collided with Richards. Richards has now gone down, holding his lower left leg. Don't know if it's a knee injury, might be more of a calf injury, not too short. Both men had eyes on the ball. Thiago goes up to win it. He just falls quite awkwardly on it, and again, they're the worry ones. If you go two-footed in and you clear someone's ankle, you know what the problem is. He's stinging to his ankle. When it's a landing like that, you go, is it his knee? Is it killer? You don't know.
Yeah, it could be anything, and the body language, the grimace on his face. I mean, Palace could actually, I mean, that would be quite something. They've lost 2 of their 3 starting centre-backs this afternoon due to injury, and now potentially one of the substitutes that came on to replace one of the injured players is now potentially going to have to go off as well. So not what you need 10 days before a European final. And he jars that left leg. I mean, whether it's the ankle or the knee, it doesn't look good for Richards the way he hits the deck, and we may need a stretcher here.
Yeah, he's just, as you say, anything from the knee. It could be knee, Achilles, calf. He just landed, as you say, because he's not even coming from a high, is he? He's not even a couple of feet in the air, is it? Yeah, again, both him and Thiago going for the ball. There's no collision of legs. That's what I thought first as he rolled his ankle off Thiago. No, there isn't. And he just goes down awkwardly. And our cameras do pan a few times to Oliver Glasner, and he just tells his players, look, just calm down, let's concentrate. We've just got over 10 minutes to play. But you are right, you've already lost Lacroix to possible injury, concussion. He might be ready for next week. They might not bother. They'll be just bothered if he's ready for the conference final. Riyad's gone off. That looks like that is a more serious kind of injury.
Yes.
His reaction. This looks like it's more of a serious injury. Klein looks like he's ready to come on. And as well, in this game, they will play it safe. Richards will not play on, I don't think, even if he thinks he can. He is back up to his feet, so hopefully it's more of a, sometimes you land and you go, oh, I've tweaked something, I'm all right, though. It's not a knee injury or anything like that. Because as you say, when you've already lost Riyad, definitely, I think, unfortunately, that looks like it's a good couple of weeks. Injury Lacroix to Richards as well. I mean, he's only been on the field, what, 20 minutes as Richards, if that?
Yeah, if that, but thankfully he's moving around of his own validity at the moment, so hopefully that can carry on, because if he's going to have any kind of problem here, they'd rather just take him off.
I think as well, I think what Glasgow's trying to say is 4-4-2, so it looks like Richards is going off the field for now. Looks like Klein is ready to come on. So I do believe there will be changing from that back three to a traditional back four, looking at maybe Canvot and Lerma as the two centre backs, Mitchell the left, Klein on the right, Munoz as a winger, he can definitely play there. Brennan Johnson off the left as a winger, Wharton Kamada in the middle with Sarah Mateta as a two up top. It'll still be dangerous, but for the moment Palace are down to 10. It's almost a 4-4-1 whilst we do wait for Clyde to ready up. So I mean, if you are Brentford, you've got to think, right, cynically they've lost a few centre backs here.
No, well, it's absolutely true. I mean, if Brentford are going to have any kind of extra motivation to really go for it now, this has got to be it. They can't wait any longer because time is ticking away from them here.
Chris Whitney is back on the field. He is, Richards. That's a very good sign. I mean, maybe it's him just saying, right, I can play on until Klein is ready to be warmed up. I can give you another 4 or 5 minutes, or as soon as the former Liverpool man's ready to come back on the field. That's to wait and see. And again, but as you pointed out correctly about Lacroix will have wanted to play on. It's more that Glasgow were thinking, we're not bothered about this afternoon. We're bothered about just over a week's time. And he'll probably look at him and go, yeah, I know you don't want to come off, but do you want to come off? Do you want to play and miss a final, or come off now and play in the final? That's
no, exactly that. And it's such a difficult balance as well. You think talking about all these big Premier League squads, but actually sometimes when you break it down, there's 2 or 3 players that are almost irreplaceable.
They are, and I mean, Richards, he's made such an impact as part of the back three. I know Chalobah was on loan last season, and then Richards was one of the backups as a part of a back three, and I think he's been incredible since really finding his footing at Selhurst Park. And you'd have to say that Richards, Lacroix and Gahey, the first half of the season, that was a great back three for the Eagles. Update as there's a long throw in here for Coyote. Decent long throw in as well. Flicked on, it's flicked out of play. Was the last off of Palace? Said yes, it was in Lerma. So a corner coming up for Brentford. Well, the Black Cats Sunderland were 1-0 down to Everton earlier on this afternoon. Goals from Brobbit, now Enzo Lafay put them 2-1 up, putting massive dents in Everton's European hopes. 2-1, the Black Cats lead there. Leeds and Brighton is still goalless. Wolves and Fulham are 1 apiece. Less than 10 minutes to go here at the G-Tech. One welcome if you're joining for the latter stages. It's independent off-tube studio commentary. That's Henderson whips one into the box. It's headed away. It was Brentford 1, Crystal Palace 2. Brentford looking to get an equaliser for the second time in this game. Taro down the right-hand side will whip one into the back sticks. It's headed away only as far as Henderson on the left-hand side of the box. Plays it to Lewis Potter on the edge. A curling effort, just never really gets the whip and bend. And that was one that always looked going wide, was curling and curling, but never looked like it was testing the keeper.
No, the where he was a good place to have a shot there for Lewis Potter, but I just think, as you said, he never quite gets his body around it, gets his foot around it to really get that curling, and it's actually angling away from goal.
It's one of them where he actually, how he curls it, he gets all the curl in the world, but because if he's 5 yards to the left a bit more, maybe he finds there's going to be a substitution coming up for Brentford. Christoph Ayer is going to be coming off, and it will be Van den Berg coming on, so like for like change. I wondered if maybe you'd gone for a more attacking outlet. I know the bench is a little bit weaker with a few injuries, but again, you do have options again. Maybe Reece Nelson could have come on, De Silva, there was options on the bench. But
there were, I mean,
like for like.
he doesn't trust Reece Nelson. Nelson's been used very sparingly in this season-long loan from Arsenal. Whereas, yeah, he just wanted to make that like-for-like stop in defence, but that's good work. Shana there holding the ball up, finding a run for Thiago down the left-hand side.
He's driving forward, it's pinged into the corner flag though, and a play will come back. Might be a...
Oh, what's happened there? Oh, might have been for an earlier foul, then I think it has been given as a free kick to Brentford after all of that.
Maybe the referee went to no advantage in the corner there. We're going to give you the free kick, and it's a yellow card as well for Chris Richards, and as far as I can tell, first one of the afternoon as well.
Yes, so there's been a couple of physical confrontations in this game, but it has taken 84 minutes for the referee to give out the first yellow card of the afternoon.
Goes away of Chris Richards. I'm surprised he's still on the field of play, if I'm quite honest. With how he went down originally, it looked like possibly really serious injury, so that the Palace defender is good to go. Will be a free kick though. There's an opportunity here for Henderson to really whip one into the box. Damsgaard is there as well. Well, it's not going to be Henderson because he's allowed for a left-footed cross. It looks like it will be Damsgaard unless it's rolled short to the former Liverpool man. Henderson will run over it. Damsgaard whips it to the back sticks. It's another way on his forwards. Wataro's strike is blocked away and nearly falls for a teammate, but Henderson saves it. It's out for a set piece. This is good pressure from Brentford.
Yeah, they're using that free kick. Well, decent ball in from Damsgaard. Ball only partially cleared, and when he goes for it, Otara is in the end a confident save there from Dean Henderson.
So then, unfortunately for Brentford, if it looks on your side a bit more, if Vandenberg's leg is a little bit further forward, it might have just popped off him and into the back of the net. Another corner. Damsgaard this time right on the goalkeeper, headed away on his far eyes at the edge of the area. It's well defended, and Munoz will boot it as far away as it can. Coyote is the furthest back. He'll fall for Kelleher to get a terrible pass there. Brentford will keep the ball. As you Brentford pointed out, Paul, he's not the best with his feet, and quite clearly Palace understand that, but also Brentford haven't really helped him in that sense. Long ball forward out of play for a throw in for Palace, and at the moment we've probably got, with stoppage time, 10 minutes left, give or take, which is about to 85 minutes. Brentford, I'm not saying it's a miracle for them to win, but they've been poor in the second half.
They have. I mean, Palace have scored the goals at the right times in this game, early in the first and early in the second half, but Brentford, whilst they did respond quite well in the first half, they've not really had that kind of response in the second half.
Just looking at the stats, second half as a whole, 58% possession for Brentford, 4 shots and 1 on target for the Bees, and 1 on target just coming a few moments ago from Wataru. 2 shots and 1 on target for Palace, so less chances, but it was a mistake by the keeper, you'd have to say as well. As a whole, looking at the game, Brentford still on top with 56% possession, 7 shots for the Bees, 2 on target, 15 for Palace and 5 on target. Ball swung into the box, Mitchell will bring it down, plays it to the edge of the area, twist and turn. What a penalty, very half-hearted I thought there. Good decision from the referee, Samuel Barrett. Now here come Brentford, possible counter-attack, slid through to Sharda. He's got the run and comfort, he slows down, there's got a one-on-one against him, cuts inside, back he goes to Damsgaard, edge of the area, Henderson. Palace now have got everyone back, they need to maybe make an early decision there, and Sharda needs to do something more there. Brentford do keep a hold of the ball, goes to Lewis Potter on the left-hand side. Some support there though. The penalty area is packed, but no one's coming over to help out the full-back for a 1-2. He cuts inside to Damsgaard. Opens up for him, floats one to Tango Ataro. Heavy touch, it does well to keep it in play. That's a poor play. For me, Sharda, he's got to be more decisive down the left-hand side.
No, he does. I think that he had enough time there to actually get the ball in, but he was thinking about where he should be playing it. By the time he made his mind up, it was too late.
Brentford, more defending to do. Actually, it's a poor pass in the middle there by Palace, and come away with the ball. Vandenberg substitutes in the last few moments to Henderson and Damsgaard. Brentford are very similar to the first half. Not the score before ending as well, but ending the second half, the better of the two. Otaro, ball into the box, just a little bit behind Sharda there. You can see as well, usually Igor Thiago is involved. It's getting strikes, whether he's putting him on target or scoring. He hasn't had a sniff this afternoon.
He hasn't. I mean, he had a couple of half chances in the first half, but I mean, it's always a 50-50 balance. You've got to ask yourself, is he not getting the service, or is he not putting himself in the right positions? It's probably a little bit of both today.
Watching it back there with Brennan Johnson, it was. He had his shirt pulled, but I think he went down very little. We brought back to live pictures, and Brentford have put it in the back of the net. Apologies for that. Our broadcasters were showing a replay of Brennan Johnson's penalty. Dango Watara is running away. This time he actually celebrates, unlike his first one. It is Brentford 2, Palace 2. We'll wait for a replay. But what an opportunity for Brentford now to maybe go and win this game.
Yes, what an opportunity for Brentford to win. What an opportunity for the TV director to keep an eye on the live feed as well, because, as you said, we were getting replays of a Palace appeal for a penalty, which is a very half-hearted appeal. In the meantime, a long throw from Coyote, nodded on at the near post by Vandenberg, and nodded in at the far post by Dango Otara. It's a training ground move Brentford probably practiced multiple times a week.
I'm sure as well. That's why Keith Andrews goes, that's why I brought Vandenberg on to the field of play. I think there is a little check on VAR. There might even be a substitute that's just come on.
Yes, absolutely. Josh De Silva has just come on to replace Yeko Yarmoliuk, so that would be, I believe that's probably the last change that Brentford can make, because they've made 3 separate windows of changes now, haven't they? So yeah, Josh De Silva, the man who was out for, I think the exact figure counted was 800 and 11 days, I think he was out injured or something like that. But in the meantime, Brentford were going on a counter-attack, and now they're asking the question here because Nathan Collins has just charged past 2 of his teammates to really remonstrate with the referee, because the referee has shown Jefferson Lerma a yellow card, and Brentford are saying, should it not be a different colour?
I think they've got a point at least to ask the referee, if I'm perfect. Maybe Collins is going overboard in his reaction, but I think the question is valid.
The question is valid. The thing that probably saves Lerma is that the foul is... Well, Brentford have taken the free kick probably a little bit further into the Palace half than it was. I thought that was only just over the halfway line where he actually got brought down.
Will be a free kick opportunity though. Now you have to say all the momentum is with the Bees, and well, I'm sure they'd love another long throw in. As you say, one from the training ground. Lovely in from Coyote Vandenberg. If anything, he just made that run at the last second, but at the right second, flicked it on, and then Ouattara was there. I also want to say that Sharda was in the back six as well. He wouldn't have got there, but there was a 2-on-1 in favour of Brentford, so poor from Palace. It's taken short. They'll be floating back out. Poor from Brentford there. They'd probably rather have had a throw in than that free kick. That was poorly done. Now here come Palace on the counter attack. Well defended out of the back by Damsgaard. This game is very much open and for the taking, and I'd probably say more for Brentford. Poor pass to Coyote. He's having to chase that one down. It was a pass well over hit by Damsgaard, and it's kept in play by Mitchell, but Palace have him under pressure. We've played 90 minutes of football, just waiting for confirmation of some 10 minutes of stoppage time, and I think if you're Brentford, you're thinking that is more than enough for us to create one chance to score.
Where have they got 10 minutes from though, Lewis? There's never been 10 minutes lost in this second half. Based on, I mean, saying that, I always say that and always add to that you probably lose about 15 or 20 minutes of play in every half anyway, just with players naturally they're sort of restarting the way that they do. But Brentford will be happy to hear that, and the ball over the top now here for Lewis Potter.
Lovely first touch, his second one bobbles away from him. Finds Damsgaard on the left-hand side, ball into the back post. Ouattara on a hat-trick, of course, is the winner. That'll play for a throw-in, and this is what Brentford will want more than a set piece, is a long throw.
Yes, absolutely. They've just scored their second goal from a long throw. They're going to try and get their third as well. I can say that Sunderland have their third away to the Hill Dickinson Stadium after Brobby had made it 1-1. Sorry, after it was actually Brobby that got the first goal, then it was Lefay, and now it's Isidore making it 3-1. Hill Dickinson Stadium as a long throw comes in, it's headed on at the near post, there's pushing and shoving. Brentford won a penalty, but the referee says play on.
Lewis Potter swings one in, looking for a flick on into the back of the net. Brentford still have the ball, they can't clear it, falls for Sharda, who puts his laces through it. My word, I have no idea whether that was inches away or a mile away from going in the back of the net. He hit that so ferociously there, but again, they are causing Palace so many problems.
Oh, they are. I mean, he's absolutely put his foot through this, Kevin Sharda, but when the ball drops to him, and we'll see from this angle now just how close or not he was to goal. Wasn't too far away, but he was always dragging just a little bit wide.
I will say that he drags it wide. What he's got to do, unfortunately, there is a VAR check apparently for a penalty, possibly. That's at least what I'm seeing on a few of the live score tracking apps that we do use. It's for the Sharda, for Wharton and Sharda. I believe that's what we're looking at. I think there's
the Wharton and Sharda one is just off the 6-yard box. I mean, there's contact there. Whether or not the referee is going to be asked to go to the monitor, as it stands now, he's just standing there and not checking anything, because there's going to be a substitution, I think, in the meantime for Palace. It looks like Gussand is coming on to replace Ismail Assar.
Very similar to for Reece Nelson. I know that the loan for Guessant was in January. He's been quite forgotten about for Palace, hasn't he?
He has, yeah. And bearing in mind that he's a Villa player, of course, Evan Guessant, but hasn't quite worked out for him this season.
No, it hasn't. It was quite impressive for Nice in France, and it's just, I say it's not translated. I do think that's correct, but also it just hasn't really been given the minutes under Emery in Villa, or unfortunately at Palace. Both sides are quite settled, if you will. Long throw-in taken into Thiago on the left-hand side. Wasn't a long throw-in you'd expect. It was just a throw-in that was on into him. Sharda takes it past his man, still driving forward. Sharda, he's well defended there by Conboy. He just gets his body in front of Sharda. And he's one of them. You're always going to go down. You feel a bit of pressure. Oh, I go down. And Sharda, he's going for the ball, but he's just maybe got to be a little bit less.
Yeah, he's experienced enough, Sharda. Now he should do a little bit better there, not give that free kick away so easily.
We I've got finally a goal at Ellen Road. It looks like a late goal. I do believe we'll wait for full confirmation. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is once again on the score sheet for the Whites. So as you pointed rightfully out earlier, Paul, that although they only secured their Premier League safety 2-3 weeks ago, if that, they're now in 13th, 2 points off of Fulham, let's say, 2 points off Everton. So it shows how close it really is, and how that, as I say, 2 or 3 weeks ago they were battling out with Forest and Spurs plus West Ham, and now they'll end the season very comfortably mid-table due to the extra 3 points.
No, they absolutely will, and when you think back how it looked, how you say how nervy it looked for them in the first few weeks of the season, they've certainly come a long way since then, as Brentford now looking to get forward here through the middle.
It is wide open in this game when both teams come forward and attack. A lot of tired legs will be out there as well, it has to be said. Of course, Gesand coming on, you'd have to say maybe that's more due to a pressing form. Here come Brentford, down into the box, strike comes in, falls for Thiago, snapshot, he puts it well wide there, asking for a corner. I'd love to see it back, because if it takes a deflection, fair enough, that's why it's gone wide. I thought he just got underneath it and hooked it wide.
Well, I mean, Thiago's doing the Portuguese goal. Oh, I swear, ref, it definitely took a deflection. He's absolutely fuming that Brentford haven't got a set piece off that. I mean, the 2 replays we've seen so far are not conclusive, I have to say. You can't really see much of a deviation. I'll tell you what, that one might be a little bit more evidence in favour of Igor Thiago, but it's still not clear cut for me.
I still think it's one of them where, and this doesn't make it the correct decision. I think it's because it's already going over. If that was going on target, you would see it clearer.
Yes,
I think that's
so.
the problem. But again, it's rolling to him. He has to take a snapshot that's underneath it. But that's that one moment where I said to you, Thiago hasn't had a chance, and I saw it roll to him and go, that's your chance, and he misses it, unfortunately. But we've played 5 minutes of stoppage time. We've still got 5 more minutes left, and here comes Igor Thiago driving forward for the Bees into Sharda, into the penalty box, opens up for a strike, it's blocked away. Lerma goes down, and I mean, it's a clip of the heels, but it's more how Lerma for me goes down as if
yes, of
waxed.
course. I mean, you'd feel that he's had his foot taken off him there, Lerma, the way that he's hit the deck. But it's petty from Sharda. I think he's had a frustrating season as the Brentford number 7. Too many of these sort of bit part performances, and there again, he wasn't forced into that foul, but it just allows Palace a little breather, just allows them to try and get the ball away now, and he should have been able to avoid that.
He should have. And again, it takes, as we always say, it just takes seconds off the clock, doesn't it, as well? It means that Palace can get back. He's taken a good 30-40 seconds off the clock here, and Palace boot it long, looking for the opportunity there. Come away with it though, do Brentford. Again, time is maybe just starting to be a bit of the enemy now. Coyote's picked up a yellow card for something he was involved in.
I think I might have just been a little bit over-processed over the last penalty decision of Brentford, or the corner decision of Brentford were trying to convince the referee Sam Barrett of, as everywhere ticks down to full time. It's all over at Molineux. It's finished Wolves 1, Fulham 1. It's all over at Hill Dickinson Stadium. Everton 1, Sunderland 3. They're into the 10th minute of added time at Ellen Road, where Leeds lead against Brighton by 1-0, and we're just over half an hour away from the game at St James's Park as Newcastle take on West Ham in a 5:30.
Interesting, that one at the bottom of the table. Of course, if West Ham don't pick up anything, I'm sure Spurs, it's a big game against Chelsea, that'll be even more. I mean, regardless of the result, actually, I should say it'll still be a big game, Chelsea Spurs. Even if there was nothing on the line, that's always a big game in the Premier League. We've played nearly 7.5 minutes of stoppage time. Pass from Coyote there. Brentford are maybe the more likely to go and grab the lead here, but it's still very, very close. But 2.5 minutes remain. It's Brentford 2, Crystal Palace 2. More forward for Mateta. Brings it down while he's battling away with Van den Berg. Puts it out, does the Brentford defender, and Palace again with the throw-in. As we always speak about, so Coyote picks it up quickly to Mitchell. Mitchell goes, I'm not taking it, let me throw it up in the air. My defender's going to come over. Takes 15-20 seconds off the clock. See Keith Andrews on his technical area. Looks like they might even pump a long ball into the box here. Palace, don't know how packed it is. Lerma, it's the worst long throw in the world. Flicked on, my guess on Mateta, tries to bring it down. Awkwardly looked away by Lewis Potter. Lovely first touch from Damsgaard. Tries to play it forward for Thiago. Richard's going to get there first. Under pressure is Henderson. It's not a great clearance. That's for Lewis Potter just inside his own half. That'll be a foul there by Brennan Johnson. Be a yellow card or anything like that, but we're getting to last chance saloon time. I mean, for Brentford, a draw's not the worst result in the world. I think for Palace it's not either. They're not really too bothered, but Brentford, they're the ones looking most likely. I bring Paul in a moment. That's great from Damsgaard. Plays it to Sharder. It's an awkward pass, but he will win the corner. Set piece for the Bees.
Set piece for the Bees. Well, Brentford will be a point clear of Sunderland as it stands, with Sunderland winning and Brentford drawing. They'll be 3 points clear of Chelsea, but Chelsea have the better goal difference, so a win for Chelsea against Spurs on Tuesday, and Chelsea would be in that 8th spot. But Brentford, for the time being, have this corner now to be taken by Damsgaard.
An in-swinger as well, so an opportunity. The last minute, really, of the stoppage time. Ball swung, and it's a decent one. Heads go up. Last off of Brentford by Vandenberg. Goal kick coming up for Palace, and that probably might be it.
Yeah, it looks like it might be here as we see that ball whipped in again by Damsgaard. Just a little bit too much height on that one in the end. From the header there from Vandenberg, and that probably could be it as far as Brentford are concerned, but they'll still be hoping there might just be one more chance.
There's always an opportunity that from a goal kick the referee doesn't blow the whistle just yet. We are about 15 seconds off the 10 minutes being completed. Forward looking for Mateta. He's battling Vandenberg for it. Down by Gesson. Wharton. His goal gave Palace a 2-1 lead early on in the second half. Otaro's braces. Brilliant for Brentford. Ball fizzed into the box. Kamada plays it back to Wharton. Strike comes and it's blocked away. Damsgaard picks it up. Is this the last chance for Brentford? We've played the full 10 minutes, but the Bees are coming forward. Is this the last chance for the host to go and grab a winner? Sharder down the left-hand side. Cuts back. Does he go down? Referee says no. Sharder has stayed down. It's more of, did he get clipped to the heels? Almost Ronaldo chopped in into the box, and then I thought it was just more of a collision, and he goes down a little bit softly. The question is whether the heels clipped, not too sure. Cleared away by Palace, but Brentford are going to come forward once again down the right hand side with De Silva. The feet of Ouattara. Hooks it forward looking for Igor Thiago, just can't get there, stretching for it. We have played as again the full 10 minutes of stoppage time, so all eyes on the referee. Gesson gives it away. Brentford, if they can score, it would be a winner. Ouattara loses it, then wins it back. Igor Thiago. All eyes on the referee. Is this going to be the last few moments of the game? Ouattara on the right hand side, swung into the box. It's a clearance by Gesson right up into the air. Thiago brings it down nicely, booted away by Canvo, but that will be the last action of the game. Palace took the lead twice in the game, but Brentford fought back twice. It's full time from the G-Tech Stadium and it's finished. Brentford 2, Crystal Palace 2.